Hello. Welcome, fiddling with my chair. Welcome one and all to not playing any games right now. Yes, hello, welcome. I've got a bit of an ear infection, so I can't really have headphones on because it hurts my ears listening to loud stuff. So I thought I'd get on with some painting instead. So we're doing some painting. We're continuing to paint my Horus Heresy Age of Darkness set, which I've not done any work on this week at all because of various reasons that I don't need to go into. But yeah, I've not had a chance to do anything. So we're starting right from scratch, basically. So I thought I might as well just do this while we're streaming. You can keep me company and I can keep you company. And I've got a sniffly nose already, and it was nice and cool in here until my neighbour decided now would be a great time to start chainsawing something. Like literally the moment I pressed go on the streaming software. And yeah, I've had to close the window, so now it's a bit warm. Now my double glazing thankfully makes it silent. I can't hear him, but it does mean I'll have to keep checking it every now and then, because as soon as he stops I need to get that window open. So anyway, yes, welcome one and all. Don't know how much we'll get done today, but we'll try. Before we get going, as always, big shout outs to all the relevant important people. First of all, this channel and this stream and all my content is brought to you by, of course, my channel sponsors, emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your model making needs. I need to remember the camera's here this time, not over there. It's on this side. I've moved it over here now and I keep forgetting, and I need to just get used to that fact. So yes, emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your tabletop and model making needs. Do go and check them out, link in the description below. They sponsor my channel, so a big thank you to them. And of course to my patrons and channel members who make all my content possible because they literally pay my wages. They literally sort of put food on my table. So a big hug and thank you to my patrons and channel members. If you want to join them and help support this channel, you can go to patreon.com/modelmakingguru. The address is down there somewhere. I can't remember, forget where the corners of the camera are now, it's on the different side, down there somewhere. Or you can become a channel member by pressing the join button under any of my videos. Either way, you're supporting the channel, you're helping to keep it alive. I'm going to adjust my microphone, there you go. Don't forget, of course, if you're watching this, I've got the live chat in front of me. It's just off to the side over there somewhere, because I can't have it here. So in fact, why don't I just put it over, can I fit it over there? Let's just try. Let's move all my wetting pallets out of the way and see if I can put the chat. Will I even see it if I put the chat over here? It's hard enough to see you guys normally. Let's just see if I put the chat here. Hang on. Knocking the microphone. I'll do my best to read the chat. It's all the way over there now, so it's going to be really hard for me to see. So I will do my best, but it's over there somewhere. It's a bit more practicable. I don't think we'll need wet pallets today, so we'll put them over there. Yes, so I've got the chat in front of me. If you want to interact with me, please do. It gives me gives me things to talk about for the next 2 or 3 hours. It makes life interesting. So please do consider joining the live chat. If you're watching it embedded in Facebook, or why have I got a Sharpie? Facebook or Twitter or something else, just click on the YouTube icon on the bottom right hand corner of the video, and that'll take you to YouTube where you can carry on watching and join the live chat. Yes. And don't forget, of course, if you're in chat and you want to catch my attention, please do put @modelmakingguru at the start of your comment, so it puts my name in an orange box and I can see it. Or if you want to do that and support the channel as well, you can press the dollar symbol button at the bottom of the chat window. That's super chat, and that puts your chat in a coloured box, and it does an animation on screen and makes a noise, and you help support the channel. And I can't possibly miss your comment then. So yes, that's all that stuff out of the way. In chat today we have Jeff, good old Jeff, Canning Guy from Mongo is in. Welcome to you, Jeff. Hello. He says hi, Fox, and a big hello to everyone in chat. Andy McLeish is in and says horse. Says much horse, such hearsay. Welcome, Andy. Retro Rabbit Studio says, hey everyone, welcome to you, buddy. Welcome. And that's it in chat so far. 8 people watching, so do come and join the live chat. Now, I don't tend to get a lot of viewers on my gaming streams because it's like the middle of the afternoon on Friday and a lot of you are at work. And a lot of you are in bed around other parts of the world, so I don't expect to have millions of people watching today. But yeah, if you've just popped in, do stick around, stick and watch. We'll have some fun. So, what is the plan for today? Well, first of all, I need to raise my chair up a bit. There we go. Now, the plan for today, and the reason I can do, I'm just in my chair, the reason I can do this live stream, I can't really do lots of fiddly painting on a live stream because I have to get right up close with my lenses so I can see things, and that makes streaming these things really difficult because then I've got the camera there and my face here and an entire head. Yeah, it doesn't really work out. So, I can only really stream like simple stuff most of the time. Now, of course, we've got all these dudes primed and ready for painting. We're going to be painting Space Wolves. It's the entire Horus Heresy set. I'm going to paint them all as one squad of Space Wolves. and they'd been primed in Mechanica standard grade. Then I airbrushed some Dawnstone over to make highlights, and it went completely wrong. Didn't work, was invisible. My airbrush is too big, and I just thought, you know what, screw that. I took them outside and primed them all back Mechanica standard grey again, and we'll just stick to brush painting from now on. Yes, because setting up the spray booth is a real pain in the bum. I have to disassemble half my workbench, so we'll just do dry brushing. So today what we're going to do, they're in Mechanica standard grey. I am going to give them a wash of the Agrax Earth Shadings. And then once that's done, we're going to start dry brushing over our Mechanica standard grey and some Dawnstone to build up subtle highlights on all the figures. And I'm not going to do the tank today, probably not, because I'm going to be filming this as well, and I've got things like the Dreadnought and the tank that I can do specific filming bits on, because it's easier to see when you're filming and easier to film. So I'll probably not do those. I'll do those properly on camera when I do the filming. So it's probably just the dudes we're going to be sorting out today. Work, is that the horrible thing where you rent out your soul in exchange for some form of compensation, says Rabbit. Yes. Yes, Andy says yes, Retro, it's the pain. Andy also says, Horus Heresy, the glue factory massacre. My little pony, so skinny and bony, off to the glue factory. Mattel never made a My Little Pony glue factory, but they should have done. So we're going to start off with the Agrax Earthshade. Nice messy goodness. Where's my little paint pot holders? Hang on, I've got to reach over the camera without knocking it. So first of all, we're just going to do a nice coat of Agrax Earthshade, and what that's going to do, it's going to darken all this down. It's going to go into all the recesses, create some recess shading. It'll also darken the paint down a little bit anyway, and then when we go back with the Mechanica standard grey dry brush, it will then create highlights, and you'll have a low light, because you don't need to do it, but it's just a bit flat, and when I put some shade on there, it'll give us a highlight and a low light. It gives the contrast. That did the rounds in the 80s when I was a lad fox, says Andy McLeish. My little pony, so skinny and bone. Yes. So we've got our Agrax Earthshade. We need our old brush. I do recommend when you're doing shades, don't use your nicest of brushes, because shades can be a little harsh on your brushes. They're a bit rough and ready, so don't sacrifice your best possible brush. Just go for an old brush. I keep all my old brushes, so it's always worth keeping hold of them. So don't use your... I mean, you can, if you're doing like a little subtle recess shade, you can, but if you're doing a big slappy on shade, don't use them, because all the shade goes in the brush and it kills it all, and all the kittens lose their wings and everything, so it's not good. So I'm going to put on my lenses of seeing, and we shall begin. So anyway, how is everyone? Have I set one of these aside? Yes. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. I'll do my best to try and stay on camera. You know what I'm like. So we're just going to apply this neat, and this is going to go over all the dudes, and we're just going to basically get it on there. Now we're trying to be as neat as possible. Well, not neat as possible, but I'm trying to minimise the amount of blotching here. I want to darken down the grey. I could have used a bigger brush really. I want to darken down the Mechanicus grey, but I also want it to go in the recesses, but I don't want it to be particularly messy. I'm going to be dry brushing over this and putting highlights in, but I don't want it, you know, I want to try and avoid as best I can the kind of lumpy coffee stain look. It's just a case of going around and doing this, and where I can help it to not pool up. Duncan always says, don't let it pool up. If you see it starting to pool up, just move it around. Get it out of the pooling area. Now, a lot of this will vanish and disappear, but it just means basically when I do the highlights, I've got a contrast between the darker areas and the lighter areas. Don't need to worry about that, but I'll paint it anyway. Because if I was just to dry brush Dawnstone on here now, which is the second highlight, or the highlight colour, you'd get a highlight between the grey and the Dawnstone, but it would be kind of a bit subtle. You wouldn't really see too much, because you've not got... The darkest colour you've got is the Mechanica standard grey, and it's not a particularly dark colour. So this just means I'll then have three colours to work with. I'll have dark Mechanica standard grey under the Agrax. I'll have Mechanica standard grey as a dry brush, and then I'll also have Dawnstone. And I could even go for a fourth one if I wanted to. I might do a fourth sort of flicky edge highlight dry brush. And like I say, I was going to do all this with the airbrush, because airbrushing it is a lot quicker. in terms of painting time. But, like I say, I mixed the paint, it's my own fault, I mixed the paint slightly too thin. And when it went on, it looked fine. Now, we all expect, you paint, you all expect paint to lighten and become more translucent as it dries, and that's taken as red. And I did that, but I didn't expect it to go completely invisible. So all that airbrush, I spent a good 2.5 hours airbrushing everything, and it all just completely vanished. Because it was a little bit too thin. And because I've got a 0.35 airbrush as well, I think perhaps for putting on highlights on little minis, a 0.35 is just a little bit too big. I mean, I know I dropped the pressure and everything, but it's a little bit too big and unwieldy for some of the smaller areas like pauldrons. So I think if I had like a 0.25 airbrush or a 0.2 airbrush, it might be better for that. So when I reprimed, I thought, you know what, I'll just stick to dry brushing. It's going to take me longer, but I do enjoy the process, and it's I don't mind doing that. It's not exactly fast and speedy, but at least I can stay in control of it. Oh, forgot his bonds. Don't forget the bonds. Don't forget the crackers. Cracking toast, grommet. So there we go. That's him. That's 1. 49 to go. Woohoo! So it's not going to be a vastly exciting stream today. We're just doing a lot of this, and then once this is done, it'll basically be dry brushing. Now, what I'm doing now, I do have a very specific order of painting in mind, because the trick is, and this is where you've got to plan these things. They're obviously going to be this grey colour, and they'll have this is a Terminator, but for the regular Marines, they'll have a black pauldron. Some of them will have a red pauldron, but not all of them. Or I might give them all a red pauldron, I don't know yet. And you've got metallics and stuff, so I've got to think about the order of painting. I also want to do some sponge chipping on these guys as well, a bit of sponge chipping. So what I'm going to do is, the plan is, get the base colour done, so do this wash, do the 2 coats of dry brushing the highlights, then do, this is where it gets weird, then do, this is where it gets tricky actually, then do chipping, well, do the, let's start again, this coat of Agrax, then the dry brushing highlight coats. Then we'll apply some decals to the grey areas, just the grey areas. Then we'll do some sponge chipping. And then once that's done, that's all the grey stuff done, then I can do things like the gold trim and leather bits and all the other bits and bobs, because there's no point doing all the trim and gold and stuff now and then dry brushing grey everywhere, because it'll just go over all the gold stuff, so, or bronze stuff. So we're going to keep it simple, stupid. So you've got to think logically, so it'll be dry brushing, decals, chipping. Now I've got a consideration to make, because I wanted them all to have a black shoulder pad here and a red shoulder pad there. The problem is, for the Space Wolf logo I've got that goes on the pauldron, I've only got, I think, 8 of them, maybe 10, in gold. So if I paint this pauldron red and then put a gold wolf head on there, it'll look great. The rest of them are all red, and I can't really paint a red pauldron and then put a red wolf's head on there, because that's stupid. So what I'm going to do is, because there's a bit of freedom in Horus Heresy as to how you paint different legions and all the stuff, so I've got a bit of freedom. I'll give things like the sergeants and maybe some of the, what will I do? Maybe the sergeants and the flag bearers red pauldron, so I can give them the gold wolf head, and then the rest of them I'll just keep them with the grey pauldron, and they'll have the red wolf head. Because I've got the Horus Heresy decal set, but there's only, most of them, I like the gold colours, but there's not lots and lots of them. I've got 40 dudes to do, and there's only like 10 gold heads, and there's like 100 red wolf heads, so it's a bit silly, but it's a bit annoying. But we'll get there. Right, Fox could stab himself with the paintbrush, Jeff, says Andy. Yes. Lynn Dipple's in. Hi Fox, Mama Fox, Andy, RRS, Jeff, hugs. Hey Lynn, welcome you. Welcome. Hope the house is doing well. When the Hershey was halted at Earth, it was known as the Pedigree Chum campaign. No, Pedigree Chum, that was the big satellite that came down and did whale noises, wasn't it? The big tin of Pedigree Chum. I foresee spillage, though I have my tool of happiness. The other tool of happiness. When you consider the size of the Milky Way, our solar system, and how small our planet is by comparison, I'm not eating that much cheese. I've lost track of the conversation, haven't I? Mark Shellard is in. Shellard. Hello, buddy. And Andy McLeish goes, Shellard. Jeff Light is in. Hey, Jeff. Welcome to you. Hugs to you and Mark. Hope you're all well. You're joining us. I'm just going to be doing lots of shading and dry brushing today. I have many dudes to shade. I could go for a slightly bigger brush, really, but I've got 2 or 3 hours to fill, so I'm not exactly in a rush here. So, now I am filming this painting this Horus Heresy set, but what I'm doing is basically filming little bits. So, for the majority of it, it'll be film 30 seconds of painting a thing, and then get the rest of the guys, get that thing painted on them. So, I will be doing streams of these things here and there. I'm going to do his pauldron anyway, because I don't know who'll have red ones yet. So, we'll just get the shade on there. And I know it would be quicker to airbrush all this, but I'd have to buy a smaller airbrush. And besides, if I do it this way, it does mean I can get some live stream content out of it, like with you guys doing this, you know. So there's a bit of live stream content there. Hello, Mama Fox. Hello. So, I think she's trying to secretly go for a snooze without me noticing, but I notice everything. Nothing escapes my attention. So although it might take longer, I do get some live streams out of it, rather than just one painting video. And I have you guys to keep me company. So there you go. Yeah, so I'm not going to do a gaming stream today or tomorrow. Not because I want to do this, but this is a handy thing I can do. Purely because I woke up on Tuesday and I felt like my ears felt all bunged up, like I was underwater. I had water in my ears or something. Now, when you go to a club the night before and it's really loud, and then you wake up and you can feel pressure in your ears and you've got the tinnitus and stuff. I had that, but everything was quite uncomfortable to listen to. Anything even remotely bassy was quite uncomfortable to listen to, and it was like, oh, I don't like it, quickly in my ears and stuff. So it was most unpleasant, and it was a real pressure in my ears, and I didn't know what it was, but I had to go to the chemist later on, so when I went, I mentioned it to him, and he says, yeah, try some, it might just be, you know, it could just be a wax build-up or something. I don't think it is, but he said it could just be wax or something. So he got me some olive oil drops and said, just put a couple of drops in your ears twice a day and give it 7 days, and if it's not gone away, go and see the doctor. But it should get rid of it if it's just bungage. And it went away yesterday. I was like, oh, okay, maybe it was just a bit of a head cold or something. Probably just a head cold. But it came back today, and I'm like, oh. So it means, like, it's just uncomfortable to listen to, like, watching, say, a video on YouTube or anything with, you know, that's a bit like talking, bassy noises, or even just, I can hear my own voice in my head. It's like I've got my fingers in my ears and I'm talking. That's what it sounds like. So the last thing I wanted to do was put on headphones and have video game shooting and all that kind of stuff going on, because that probably wouldn't have done me any favours. So, a bit of a pain in the bum, but hey, like I said, at least I can do this. I was unsure whether to do this, but then that kind of sealed my fate, so there you go. Just listen and see if Mama Fox goes for a snooze. I bet she does. I bet she does. She's dead cheeky. She knows that I do a stream for 2 or 3 hours, and she knows if she goes for a snooze now, she gets an extra hour snoozing, because I'm too busy doing this to go and get her out of bed. Because she's lazy, and she'd sleep all day if she had the choice. Something happened. Michael Weddle subscribed. Michael Weddle or Vadel, I don't know where you are, so how that would be pronounced. Thank you for your subscription. Welcome to the Nut House. Just a quiet listen and see what she does. She's a nightmare. She's a terror. See if she goes down the stairs. No. No, she's gone for a snooze. There you go. There goes the bedroom door. Yeah, she's gone for a snooze, bless her. She thinks I haven't noticed. Yes, welcome, Michael Weddle. What time is it? 5:30. Okay, that's not so bad. The only pain is she goes for a snooze, and then when I wake her up a couple of hours later, eBay just sent me something. What was that? Oh, they've sent me a message saying that the package that I got earlier today arrived. Yay. I was kind of hoping it had said I'd sold my Macarius Vanquisher, but no. Not sold yet, but some things take a while to go. Some things go quickly and some things take a while. It's a patience game. Yeah, so anyway, what was I talking about? I've got no idea. I've already forgotten. I've forgotten what I was talking about. No idea. So we'll paint that bit there. The actual wolf's head on the top, that's going to be gold and stuff, so I don't have to worry about getting shade on that. I think that'll do for now. For him. There you go. Oops, pink. It's quite a tricky hold them. I've got my little clampy thing, but I suppose it would be easier, wouldn't it? Just put them in that. There's a little crack sound, and I don't like it when things go crack. Oh, this is quite a big one, this. Where would it go in my... Hang on, let me put my brush down. Right, why are you not fitting in there? You're supposed to fit in this device. There you go. That's better. See, it's not really worth doing that. Pinch your nose and swallow fox, it'll pop your ears. No, that hasn't worked. It's not a pressure thing. I mean, it feels like there's a pressure, but it's not like suddenly extra pressure on my ear. I don't know what it is. It's kind of annoying is what it is. Nothing gets past Fox, mostly because he sits in the middle of the hallway and blocks everything. Yes. Everything gets past Fox, especially if it's food. No, food never gets past me. 5:30, your clock is 8 minutes fast. Well, near enough. I was rounding up. The Macarius Van Squisher, says Andy McLeish. Yes, it's still not sold yet. But I'm not panicking. Some things take time. I expect things like Bane Blades to sell much faster than things like Forge World tanks. Because I did the tank as a deathcore, and deathcores, you know, fewer people play deathcore because it's more expensive. At least they did up until now. Now you can get plastic ones. That might change. I'm not fussed. I've seen ones on there that have been there for 6 months, so I know it'll sell eventually. I'm just, you know. I've got more things to go up soon. I've got my Bane Blade I've got to paint. I got myself a couple of Bane Blades to get painted up and sold, so that's not so bad. I must actually film at some point. I must actually film painting it. I've not actually done that yet. Painting a Bane Blade. I've never filmed it. I've done like 5 of them now or something. I do need to do that for e-models at some point as well. So I might double the fun, and when I finally do a Bane Blade painting video, I'll do it for e-models. So it can be on their channel as well. But I built one up the other week, and I think we're going to do that one in a sort of World War I green colour scheme, I think. Simple flat green colour scheme. I did it as the Storm Lord, which is the one with the big stonky double Gatling guns, twin link storm cannons, and it carries up to 40 troops, 40 dudes in that tank. Like, wow. That's a significantly large vehicle, I think you'll agree. Not done that leg yet, you spoon. So don't expect too much excitement on this stream. So I'm just doing the shading and stuff. It's stuff I can do easily without having to have the model right up in my face, because that doesn't make for good filming or streaming. Having my face right in the way, it doesn't really work very well. Right, so I think we're done. That pauldron's a bit dark, but we shall survive. Pooling is denied. There you go, just wick the pooling away. Wick it away. Alright, I think that will suffice. Pooling there, get rid of that. This does take a lot longer than airbrushing, but I say I'd have to buy a new airbrush, or at least get a smaller nozzle for my existing airbrush, and that's money. So we'll not worry about that just yet. Paul Di Tommaso is in. Hello everybody, welcome Paul, welcome. I have only built 5 of my Beaky boys, as I'm having trouble creating the Legion army list and deciding what gear to glue on them, says Rabbit. Yeah, it's kind of tricky. I put all my Terminators up front, didn't I? They're kind of the biggest ones. put him on his little base. I don't need to put them on this base really, but it's just, I say it's easier, it's actually a nightmare to get these on the old handles because they're kind of a weird shape and size even. Any pools when you've had an accident? Yeah, don't pee in the pool. Pontypool, what? There's lovely. Anyway, how is everyone? I hope you're all well. I hope you're all full of things to talk about, so you can give me stuff, because I need stuff for you. I need you to give me ideas of conversations to have, because we've got a couple of hours to fill here, you know. So, I've not been doing much this week for various reasons, like, so I'm not going to go into it, but I've not been able to do anything this week, so... you know, real life and all that. So, nothing really to report. We had a new front door put in and a porch. That's about as exciting as my week got. And that's only because the old one was falling apart. So, that's about as exciting as my week has been. For 2 days, the house smelled like sealant. It was kind of weird. It's a familiar smell, but I can't quite think where I've smelled it before. That kind of like silicone sealant they put around UPVC doors. Although apparently it's not UPVC anymore, it's whatever it is. So it's quite funny now. We've got a house that was last renovated, a house that was built in 1937, that wasn't renovated until 1985, with a bit of double glazing, and that's a bit of pointing, and that's about it. And now it's got modern front door and porch. It's like we're a real kind of hodgepodge. Genuine 1930s wiring. It's terrifying. It's a challenge. Certainly gives the house character. What else has been going on? Nothing else has been going on really in my universe. Excuse me. So for the love of dog, do give me things to talk about. But yes, how is everyone? I hope you're all well. I hope you're all looking forward to your weekend. You can tell I'm getting old because apart from the fact that everything's going wrong with my body and I'm getting constantly sick and ill and things are breaking, time's going really fast. It's like I blink and suddenly it's Friday or Saturday. And I'm like, really? I have no idea how that happened. So, it's kind of scary. But then again, it does mean that when you're waiting for something to happen, exciting, you don't have to wait for a long time. Like, when's this game coming out? In 6 weeks? Oh God, that's forever. Now it's like, when's this game coming out? Oh, I've just got it. Okay, cool. Or whatever it is, you know, you're using as a when is this thing happening measure. Right, I think he's done. He's looking very pretty. I was thinking last night, I don't know if you're like me, like, you're dropping off to sleep. You're probably not like anything like me, I'm just weird, but you're dropping off to sleep, and as I'm dropping off to sleep, I might think about, like, the thing I need to paint the next day and how I'm going to paint it. And try and plan that painting order and stuff. Excuse me. And I was thinking last night how I'm going to paint the lightning claws. I think I've got a way to do it. I'm not copying anybody else's way of doing it. I'm just kind of figuring it out for myself. So I think I know how I'm going to do it. Right. I think I can open the window now because I don't think next door is chainsawing. Let's see if I can open the window. I think it's safe. Is it safe? Is it safe? Is it safe? Device angle! Knob and tube aluminium house wiring has character, which is a nice way of saying it's in fire occasionally. Knob and tube aluminium house wiring. I don't know whatever that means. Splidge, says Andy McLeish. Splidge. I didn't know I had a Porsche Fox. Hi, Paul. Paul Lewis is in. Porch. Not Porsche, you spoon. Honestly. The poshest car I ever drove was a BMW convertible, and that was only because I borrowed it off my mate for a while. Yeah. It was kind of sweet to drive around in this bright red BM. It was a 1980 or 1990s red. I don't know what it was. Maybe 3 Series. I don't know. I don't know BM nonsense. It was a, you know, soft top, so it was nice to drive around with the roof down. On my way home from work. On a hot sunny day, I'd get Magnetic Fields Part 1 by Jean-Michel Jarre blasting out the stereo at maximum volume as I drove along. Basically, I'd be a small capsule of the 1980s driving down the road. That was mint. So yeah, so not been a lot going on, so I've not really got a lot to talk about. So please, for the love of dog, tell me what you've been doing. I'll do my best to keep up with chat. Tell me what you've been up to. Don't forget, of course, Bench and Belly. What are you working on right now? Building or painting? Doesn't have to be a model kit. Could be any kind of crafty nonsense. Doesn't matter what it is. What are you applying your creative skills to? And what are you having, or what have you had for your dinner? I can tell you for our dinner tonight, we have 2 little, what are they? It's, I keep wanting to say butternut squash, but I don't think it's butternut squash. It's something and feta pies. Might be butternut squash. No, sweet potato and feta little pie things from Tesco's. You bang in the oven. Got a couple of them for our dinner. It's like sweet potato and feta cheese with sunflower seeds and something else. I can't remember. There's no meat in it, obviously. But I figured it might be something Mama Fox would eat. A bit of pooling there. Got to be careful, you don't want pooling. Pooling on there, oh. If you do get pooling with shades, you've got to be quick and remove it, because if you leave it too long, then when you try and wipe it away, you actually make you scrape, it's already kind of formed a little skin on the paint, and you get a kind of rip effect, and you get this big coffee ring effect, which looks terrible. And there's no real way to get rid of that, so you've got to be really quite speedy if you see paint pooling up. Especially if you live in a hot climate, or it's a hot day or something, or it's just wherever you are at the time, it's particularly hot. Can't afford to let it sit there for too long. You can recover it with dry brushing and stuff, or by overpainting, but sometimes it can even leave a texture that you can physically, you paint over it and you can still see the shape of it. So it's scary how time just goes whoosh as you get older. And McLeese says, is that with your fake hair? What? I have no fake hair. I can just see Fox with an 8PS mullet. An 80s mullet, I think he means. Oh, you mean driving around in the Beamer? Yeah. Ironically, though, I mean, that was 15 years ago. 12, 13, maybe 14 years ago. And yet, until recently, if you went onto Google Street View, it would be parked outside my house. It's like, wow, Street View's really not been updated. And it's really frustrating, because the last Street View past my house was in 2012 or 13. And outside the house is my friend's car that I was borrowing at the time. And I was like, I really want them to come and do the street again, because I want them to take a shot of the house with the Sharkmouth Fiesta outside, because that'd be awesome. And lo and behold, they came back round again last year or the year before, and they did all the streets around me, but for some reason totally didn't do our street. And I'm like, oh, for crying out loud, come on now. I've got an interesting car. I don't want a boring car outside the house. There's no Vauxhall Cavalier outside the house at the moment. It's like, oh, really? Really? So I'll have a look at chat in a minute. But yeah, Bench and Belly, folks, what are you working on? What are you having for your dinners? I think we'll just have chips with ours, with our little funky little pies. Or I could make some mash, I suppose. Mash might be nice. Or I could make some Fox's mess to go with it. But that requires basically effort, which is probably not going to happen. No. You know what I'm like. I'm a fox. I'm high maintenance but low effort. Maths doesn't always work out, but you know, hey, that's the way it is. I was in high maintenance, but I make low effort. If that makes sense. That makes sense, doesn't it? You know what I mean. I'm not going to go into too much detail painting this Vox unit because a lot of it's going to be metal colours anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Don't need to get a wash on there just yet. And this pauldron's going to be black, so, and the weapon's going to be black and silver, I think. So nothing to worry about on there just yet. Get his hands done there. Okay, a bit of suckage of the poolularity. Do. Don't think there's any real pooling on this too much. You have to basically, when you're doing a shade, you have to have a certain degree of faith that it's going to come out in a certain way, and it takes a little bit of time to get used to it, but you do get used to it in the end. I'll do a bit on his chain blade thing. You kind of get used to how the shade works, so you know that when you put it on and it looks a certain way, like right now it looks really bold and bright, you know that when it dries it'll become a bit more subtle and look less horrible. And so while I'm doing that, I'm going to paint that pauldron anyway, probably. And it will tone down. You kind of get used to how the shades behave. Let's have a look. Dorcasaurus is in, says, hi Fox. Fox hugs, Mama Fox hugs. Hello everyone. Breakfast today was cream of wheat. With 2 fried eggs and toast. Ooh. Let's have a quick look at the chat before we do the next one. Shellard with the fake hair, it could have been anything. Says me about driving around in my 80s Beamer with my 80s hair out. Bench, balsa wood and tissue rubber band glider kit. Need to shrink the tissue now, says Rabbit. Bella, New York style thin crust pepperoni pizza. Drank Diet Coke. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, Rabbit got himself basically one of the old sort of wooden glider kits where you do tissue and balsa wood, and put a post up in the beam saying, wow, this is so complicated and so much more high skill level than I imagined. Yeah, these old 80s wooden glider kits. That's some serious craft model building, that is. Today I've been putting up shelves in my cave, so my stash that was taking up floor space is now taking up wall space, says Paul Lewis. Cool. I do shelves, but A, I'm rubbish, and B, I don't think my walls can take shelves. So, Google Street View shows my dad's truck and him in the garden. He passed in 2017, so it's a bit sad, but also nice to see him. Oh, that's nice. The good thing is with Google Street View, when you look at a Street View thing, you've got a slider in the top left corner where you can go back and look at previous updates. So if you've got if there's been 3 different versions of, say, your house, the little slider at the top, you can go back and look at the older pictures, so you never lose the old ones when it gets updated, which is nice. My chat has disappeared, said Dorcasaurus. Chat has returned. You mean like Canadian flesh tone, says McLeish. I don't know what we're talking about there. My chat disappears every few minutes on my phone because the YouTube app sucks. I tap the top live chat button and it comes back. Yeah, YouTube on a mobile device, the app's terrible. If your device is powerful enough and it won't get as hot as the sun and won't drain your battery, I do recommend the desktop version instead. Jeff says, bench piled high with things that need to be tidied up. Belly as yet unknown lunch in about an hour. Ooh, mystery food. Tomorrow I'll be continuing with my PJL Special Steampunk Vibe Baneblade build, now sans massive rivets. Well, good luck, Paul. I hope you're enjoying that. It's Baneblade, isn't it? Can't go wrong. Now I have a little bit of news, but it's not really news. But I have received a query from D'Agostini about doing another part work, but I don't know if I'm going to do it yet because I really haven't got anywhere to put it as I'm working on it. It's a kind of mint part work. I'm like, ooh, That'd be interesting, but I really haven't got anywhere to store it while I'm working on it. I haven't got any shelves or anything like that I could place it, or cupboards, anything. It really is a problem. So I don't know if I'm going to accept it yet and take it on. I don't know. It'd be interesting if I did, but... Also, it's a lot of time doing all these part works. It's not like I can sell them afterwards, because they're just so big and heavy that it's not practical to ship it anywhere. So I don't know yet. I don't know if I'll do it or not. I've already got a backlog of the Star Wars encyclopedias to film. I must do that. I've got like 4 boxes of that. And I'm probably going to do another Iron Man or Dodge Charger stream when the next pack turns up, because that'll be a good 3 packs to do. Comes out about 3 hours worth of stuff. Usually, ish. So we'll be doing that. Don't forget, of course, going forward, when I'm doing my part works, I'm doing it a new way. I'm basically doing them as live. I'm not filming them anymore, apart from the Star Wars encyclopedias. I'm not really going to film them anymore. I'm going to do them all as live streams, but it'll be member and patron only live streams. So exclusive to members and patrons. They can watch it live, and then once the live stream's finished, it'll be archived, and then that's when everybody else can watch it. So patrons and members get the option of watching it live and joining in the live chat and stuff. And that. Whereas everybody else doesn't. So stay tuned for those. There'll be more coming up. Ha la 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 la. Can't think of anything else to talk about now, because I've run out of things to talk about. So for the love of dog, please inspire me with conversational items. Give me stuff to talk about. Ask me questions. Always treat my chat like a Reddit AMA or AMA. For the love of dog, I need your conversational input. Nothing new in chat just yet. How's the new house doing, Lynn? How's the new job and all that as well? Hope you're settling in well. Hope you're settling in good. New job and a new house. It's all the newness. Because you're the new girl at work, have they got you making all the coffee and stuff all the time yet? Are you the new boy, as it were? Wherever I've worked in the past, in offices and stuff, it's always the new person's role to make the brews for at least a month. Or at least that's what I've enforced. When I'm not the new boy and somebody else is. I'll tell you what, at the minute, talking of new boy, I don't know if your brains are the same, but sometimes, like, my brain will have like weeks and weeks of when I go to sleep and I'm dreaming. I have really exciting dreams, like real proper adventures, and sometimes I'll be like going on great adventures with all kinds of things. Sometimes the dream will be like I'm watching a real life sitcom, so there's comedy involved and I'm sitting there laughing, but I'm an observer, not taking part. And just all kinds of fun things. And sometimes my brain goes really boring, and it's like I'll go through a glut of dreams where I'm driving a car, but the gas pedal doesn't quite work, or the brake pedal doesn't quite work properly as it should, and it's like, and they're just really boring. But lately my brain, I don't know if yours is the same, my brain seems to get stuck on like a rut of things for a while, and at the moment it's stuck on this rut of, I'm about to start school, right, secondary school, but it's not specified in the dream whether it's my first day at a new school, or whether I'm like, I've moved up a year, like I was 4th year last year and I'm 5th year now, but it's the first day of the first day of term of the new year. So maybe we've had the summer holidays and we're going back. So in my youth, secondary school, when you started a new year, you got a new form tutor and all that kind of stuff. Not always, but sometimes. But more importantly, your first day, you'd sit in your form room and you wait for your teacher to bring you your timetable. because you'd have a timetable for the week. And it'd be the same lessons at the same time on the same day every week, week in, week out. So you just get this timetable of your routine for lessons for the week. And that's what you'd use all year. And we all had a copy of our timetable, and woe betide you if you lost it, because you'd be knackered. I mean, after a while you got used to it, but for some reason in these dreams, it's like it's the first day, and not only is it one of the crap, it's 5 to 9, I've literally got to get to school in 5, get up, get dressed, get washed and get to school in 5 minutes. But also, crap, I can't find my timetable. Or it's the first day, I've got to get there literally in 10 minutes, because if I'm late, I won't get my timetable, and I'll get there at 20 past 9, and I won't know where my classmates are, because they'll have gone to the first lesson, and I won't even know what the first lesson is, because I haven't got my timetable because I was late. And it's one of those, and it's not stressful, it's just boring, because the dream is usually me like leaving the house and getting halfway to somewhere and then realising I've forgotten something, like the timetable. Sometimes it's I've got the timetable, but I'm halfway down halfway to school, and I've forgotten, and I've got to go all the way back again. But of course I've walked all the way, so it's a walking dream. And then and I would have been on time, but now I've got to go all the way back, and I'm going to be late. And you know what I mean? But of course, dream brain means I'm going to be late, and I'm not going to know where my classmates are, even though I've got the timetable, which makes no sense. I wake up and I'm like, that's a real waste of a night's dreaming. It's just not exciting at all. So my brain's on this like low power mode at the minute, just not making the effort. It's most disappointing. I need it to get back to having the exciting adventures. They're great. When you wake up and you feel like you've just spent like 35 hours in exciting dreams. You've only been awake for, sleep for 8 hours, but so much has gone on in a dream that it's like you've watched a great movie or something. I love those. But yeah, just at the moment I'm on the boring, I'm going to be late type dreams. And it's not a panicky running late, it's just more like I'm going to be late, I'm not going to know where everybody is, it's going to be really embarrassing. Also, I desperately need a wee, and it's like, sometimes it mixes that in, the need a wee, can't quite find a toilet dream. I hate them as well, they're boring. Sometimes I'm at my secondary school and I desperately need a wee, but every toilet I go into is out of order in some way, and it's like, and then I just wake up and it's like, that's an absolute waste of a dream. Very rarely do I actually wake up from one of those dreams needing a wee. It's like, it's not even like I'm lying there asleep needing a wee, my body's saying go for a wee. It's not even that. It's just most frustrating. I think my brain hates me sometimes. Now, I'm not doing that left pauldron because they're all going to be black regardless, so I'm painting the right pauldron. But a lot of these pauldrons, or some of these pauldrons, will get painted over red, but I've not decided which yet, so for the moment we'll give them all a shade layer just in case. So what boring dreams do you guys wake up and think, oh god, not one of those again? I don't mean bad dreams, I just mean dreams where you're like, what a waste of a night's sleep that was not exciting at all. I very rarely get the I'm at school and I'm naked dream, that kind of thing, or I'm at work and I have all my clothes. I very rarely get those, because you're suddenly panicking because you're naked in public. I never get them. One of the most common dreams, I never get those. Live viewing for patrons, cool. Who wouldn't want to become a patron, says Jeff. Thank you very much, Jeff. If you'd like to become a patron, of course, you can go to patreon.com/modelmakinguru. The address is just there somewhere. Or you can press the join button, because it's the same for channel members as well. Press the join button and become a member, same way. Rabbit says, dang it, a pepperoni fell off my slice and landed on its edge, rolled under the sofa so far that now I need to move the sofa to get it. Yeah, it's pepperoni, low loss. Not real food. Lynn says, house is good, haven't been able to put things away due to broken toe. Oh, I forgot about that. But this weekend I'll start putting things away. Job is doing great. Glad to hear it. And no, I don't make coffee, don't have coffee machine in the pharmacy. Oh. Mark Shellard says, Operation Pepperoni Rescue, go, go, go! Call the rescue team. Leave no pepperoni behind. To the rescue, pepperoni. You'll have to call Rescue Whale. Have no fear, Rescue Whale is here. If you don't watch Weeble's cartoons, you won't know what Rescue Whale is. Rescue Whale is here to save the day. Rescue Whale's hilarious. Yay, it's raining, says Lynn. I guess you've had a hot, dry spell there, have you? Texas, yeah, probably. Just look up Rescue Whale on YouTube. You'll find it. Later, not now, obviously. Right now, you need to stay here and stay with me because you're my prisoners. And I love you dearly. So come on, more bench and bellies. More tedious dreams. What are your tedious dreams? Like the one, like I say, when you wake up and you go, oh, what an absolute waste. That was just, I'd feel completely unfulfilled now. Sometimes you wake up, right, and you've just had a boring dream and you're like, oh. But sometimes you wake up and you've had a really great dream and you've been having loads of fun in your dream, exciting and adventurous. And you wake up and you're like, yeah, that was great. And now I'm in a really good mood and now I'm ready to face the day because I've been on an adventure and it's really cool. And sometimes I have my need a wee, all the toilets are broken dream, and I just wake up and think, I hate toilets. I remember when I was a teenager, I went through a phase. I actually got addicted to dreaming at one point because when I was a teenager, I used to get a lot of good dreams when I was a kid. Like really exciting dreams, and I got addicted to dreams. So I'd literally be at school all day, and all I wanted to do was go home and go to bed and go to sleep so I could dream. And I'd be coming home on the bus, and I'd be like, oh, I can't wait to get home and just get my dinner and just go to sleep and dream, because dreaming is brilliant. Because it was the days before video games, so didn't have a lot of entertainment in the 1980s, in the early 80s, 1970s. So, yeah. It was like, wow. And it's weird how some dreams stick with you over the years. I don't mean that you have them again, but I mean there are dreams that you have repeatedly and you come back to them. But it's like I normally don't tend to remember much about my dream for very long afterwards. Some dreams I do. But there are some dreams I've had in the past where I still remember to this day that specific dream. It's kind of weird. Some dreams just stick for no real reason whatsoever. None at all. But sometimes they do. Beaky Marine. Space Wombles. At some point, sniffle. I think I'm just getting a head cold, because I'm a bit sniffly. At some point, I will have to get a squad of these Beaky Marines, just buy a pack of the squad, and actually paint them like Wombles. So, white with the orange nose and the black nose tip. I'll just have to paint them like Wombles. And I'll get some decals made that actually have the W symbol on the pauldron. It's got to be done. I'm sure somebody's already done it. In fact, I'm fairly certain somebody's probably already done it. I'll have a look at chat in a moment. But yes, other than that, I've got nothing to talk about. I'm stuck for conversation, so ask me questions. Ask me anything. I found out the other day that I have now put almost 300 hours into Cyberpunk 2077. So I must be enjoying it to have put that much into it. I know I'm walking around slowly and stuff, but 300 hours. And I've only got about 2/3 of the way through all the I've done all but one of the Cyber Psycho quests. I've done main story quest up to playing for time. I've done Judy's quest with Evelyn. And I've done... What else have I done? All the gigs have been done, I think. Apart from there's one, I think, that comes up later on. So all the gigs, and I've done about 1/3 of the NCPD side hustles. The little jobs you do for the police, take out these criminals and stuff like that. And that's about 300 hours. Now, I'm walking around slowly and I'm exploring, but yeah, people ask me, why do I play like... I put something on Reddit today and somebody says, that sounds horrible. I said, no, it's a great way to play, because A, if you've already played the game, it's a great way to play a game you've already done. It's a whole new way to play, but also, it means you really get your money's worth. You know, you buy your game, 50 or 40, 50 quid or whatever. You know, why buy a game and get 10 or 20 hours out of it when you can buy a game and get hundreds of hours out of it? It's much more fun. It's lovely. So I'm enjoying it. It's not anything groundbreaking, it's not anything miraculous, it's just... It floats my boat in just the right way. Or you do need to make adjustments to the controller settings though to make it playable, because the default controller settings, thumbstick settings, movement settings they're just odd. They're just weird. Right. Yay, it's raining, says Lynn. Got it. Moving the furniture back into place now. Was just about to call in Thunderbird 2, says Rabbit. Congrats to RRS Pepperoni saved, says Lynn. Oh dear, how did that happen? Says Mark to Lynn. I assume about the broken toe. I think you banged it on something, didn't you? Mark Shellard says Greg's sausage rolls and Dr. Pepper. Oh yeah, Greg's sausage rolls. Paul Lewis says bench PJL special steampunk vibe Baneblade, mentioning again for those not paying attention. Belly chicken vindaloo with garlic naan in about an hour. Beverage nothing yet. Beer in about an hour. Ooh, chicken vindaloo. That's a bit too strong for me, that. I think the strongest I'll go is really maybe a Rogan Josh. I can get these beef madrasses from the shop round the corner. They stick it in the oven jobs, and they don't seem to be as strong as a madras normally would be, so I can eat them. They're quite nice. But it gets to... I've got a balance between flavour or pain, and if the pain is so much that I'm not enjoying the flavour, then it's not happening. I like to enjoy the flavour and just shovel the food in. I eat for feeding, not eat for burning. I know what I mean. I want, especially with the curry, I want to just be able to shovel it in and be savouring the flavour in. Dee 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 dee. We will paint. I'll do a wash on that anyway, but that's going to be a different colour, but I'll just wash it anyway, because you never know. Skull's going to be skull coloured, so that's pretty much done. Lovely. Got to be careful with these little bits I've got glued onto little stalks, because they tend to fall off dead easily, and it's a pain to get them back on again, like the heads and things like that. Now, I've only got a couple of Space Marines where I've got the heads separate. For most of them, I've got the heads just in place. But for the two Praetors, they have all this detail behind the head in the neck area. And it has a very specific look, and I've got a very specific way I want to paint it. And it does require moving of the head. So they basically got all this padded detail behind them. It's a bit like a cyberpunk jacket, you know, you got that sticky up bit, and they got this like padding behind the head. And I want to be able to paint that kind of a red colour, like a red padded cushioning type stuff. So I have to make sure his head's not in place, and then hope when I glue it all together that I don't screw it up and make a mess of it, because I don't like gluing stuff after it's been painted. It's always a risk. Das ist einen großen Risiken gefahren. With the sticking and the squishing and the squeeging of the paint and the messing and the fingerprint of Doom. So yeah, it's always a risk. You've got to risk it for a biscuit. I do apologise for the sniffles. I think I'm getting a cold, so I'm limited on what I can do about it. I could blow my nose, of course, but that never seems to work for me. When I blow my nose, it just doesn't work. It just makes it worse. It's like unstoppering the bottle. It just, yeah. It never ends well. Do 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 do. What else can I talk about? Nothing else has been going on. Nothing else has been going on. Really at a loss to have things to discuss with you peoples. So do ask me questions. Okay, that's him done. Tank driver. Trump to 132nd Dauntless build about 10 years ago, says Mark Shellard. I think there's a question. Oh, what was the favourite model kit you built, says Candygram, asks Jeff. Me was my Eagle Transporter. That's goes without saying, I think, that one, doesn't it? Hey lady. I have no real emotional attachment to my models once I've done them. So they either sit on the shelf and never get looked at again, or they just get sold. And I'm not really attached to them in any mental, physical or emotional way, but the Eagle Transporter is the one that I would happily have on my shelf. I was really sad when I had to give it back to E-Models, because that's really something that I really would get enjoyment from looking at, if you know what I mean. Most models I wouldn't bother, but that one I would sit there and I'd be proud of it, and I'd be looking at it and doing little deep sighs, because I was so happy with it. It came out really nice, and I'm not saying I did it well, I'm just saying I really enjoyed it. It was, and it's a, you know, part of my childhood, and it's like, wow. Eagle is my favourite sci-fi starship anyway, so it kind of goes without saying I enjoyed it. I'm also not on camera. Yay! That's my favourite, I would say. I enjoy every build. Well, not every build, but I enjoy most builds that I do. But it's a rare model that I don't get bored of halfway through. No, everything else, pretty much, no matter what I'm building, even if it's something I've wanted to build for a long time and I've been dreaming about building it and it's my dream kit, you guarantee most likely I'll get bored halfway through, either the build or the paint. And I'll just end up thinking like, right, let's just get this done, move on to the next one, because something else takes my fancy. It's always the way. It's always the way. That's just fickle human nature. You can't get around that. But the Eagle was, I enjoyed it from start to finish. I never got bored with it. I was never like, oh, I just want to move on and do the next thing. Which is even more telling as it was an E-Models build, so I couldn't obviously do anything with it afterwards, like sell it or anything, so it's not like I was like, I need to get this done so I can sell it and move on, because it wasn't. So I just enjoyed every minute of it. I got close to that when I did my big U-boat, the first big 172nd U-boat, 7C U-boat I did. That was, I'd never done a U-boat before, and I've not done boats and things, ships. And that was exciting, because I just had this sudden urge to build a U-boat. I was like, I need to build one of these. And it stuck with me all the way through the project, which was very unusual. Then, of course, I had to do a second one as a commission, but I didn't have the enthusiasm for that then, because I'd already built one. But it was a commission, so I would have been crazy to not put effort into it. Right, I'm running out of space on my little sorting board here. I need to figure something out now. La 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 la. This is just a hand on here, I think. A couple of hands. You need hands. Now, don't forget, of course, it is, of course, a horse is a horse, of course, and no one can talk to a horse, of course. It is Friday. So don't be forgetting, of course, that it is Friday Frolic tonight time with me and Fester. Me and Colin doing the Friday Frolic. I've got to put these dudes somewhere as I'm painting them, and I'm running out. I've done something wrong here. La 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 la. I'm trying to organise where they go. I'll have to do them from left and right. There we go. This is challenging now. Hang on, I'm doing brain thinking. It's never a good plan, but Let's put them there. You can't quite see it, but yeah. Right, let's get these 3 done. Yeah, Friday Frolic tonight with me and Fester on his channel, Fester67's Workshop. Do not forget, we'll be carrying on with our Orc Stompers, which we started painting up, which means I'll have to put all these dudes away back in the box again. I'm storing all these in my big Citadel project box, which is great, but it's a pain when you've got to keep taking them in and out. It's like, oh. Get this guy done. I shall have a look at chat when I've painted this fellow, when I've washed this fellow. I'm really hungry right now. Exceptionally hungry. I've got to put him on his little... No, never mind. I haven't put him on the little clampy stand, but it's too late now. I'm painting him anyway. At least by the time I get to the end, the first load of guys will have dried, so I can do like a little cycle. I'll have a look at chat in a minute and see what we're talking about. I'm really stuck for something to talk about. I'm really like, nothing's happened. My life is not in any way in even slightly exciting, I'm afraid. I really am quite disappointing, really. To quote Duncan, if you ever meet me in real life, please accept my apologies. I'm not that exciting at all. I'm quite disappointing in a way. I've not really watched anything to talk about. Oh, I watched the first 2 episodes of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. That's quite good. I did do that. There you go. That's something to talk about. And I watched the first episode of... Oh, yeah. The first episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, which is available now on Amazon Prime if you're in the UK, or other places if you're not in the UK. So that made me happy because I love Lower Decks. So, yeah. I quite like She-Hulk. It was all right. It's quite amusing. I like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. It's quite funny. So that was quite good. I won't give out spoilers, don't worry. I need to do a big sniffle now. Let me just turn my microphone off while I do a big sniffle. Hang on. I'll see if I can blow my nose. Back in a sec. There you go. Well, I've guaranteed that I've done nothing, but will have simply made my runny nose worse. Let's see if I've had a message from... No. Okay. I was just checking something. Apologies. iPad back there. Where are we up to? Jeff says, Fox, your guy with the chainsaw is near my house. Damn, he gets around. I moved my tool bag to another spot, and at night I walked into my tool bag that has no give. Ouch. Ah, there you go. Lynn Dipple says all of them, or I wouldn't have built them. Every model is your favourite model at the time you're doing it. Lynn says it's going to be 2 weeks on Saturday night. Just keep it taped up. Yeah, when I broke my toe, the doctor just said all you can do is tape it up and just try not to move it. I had to sleep with a sneaker on for 2 weeks, so I didn't move it or anything. That was fun. Lock the doors, Jeff, don't let him in. Andy McLeish says, Mr. GNU, you mean Space Wombles with squad leader Uncool Bulgaria, First Sergeant Orinoco. Yes, well done. I have me some white cheddar Kraft mac and cheese. Oh, I like mac and cheese. Wait, when did you go on Reddit, Fox? Says Andy McLeish. I often hang around Reddit and post things. Not that often, actually. Oh yeah, the Eagle Transporter. Someday, says Jeff. Question, what was the worst kit you ever made, or the first one you ever binned before completion, says Jeff? I was in Hobbycraft one day. I don't know why I did this. And they had the Airfix 172nd Junkers JU88. No, JU52 Anti-U. Junkers JU52, the one with the ribbed aluminium bodywork. And I had memories of building one when I was younger that I think it was 148 scale. It was massive. Might be 172nd. And it had sea floats, like seaplane floats. And it was a really great kit. And I thought, oh, I've not built that. I was a kid when I built it. Let's build it again. So I got it, and it was... I opened the box, and the sprues were 99% flash with a hint of not flash, for a start. It had more flash than a 1998 website. And I pulled the canopy out, the clear canopy part, and it was absolutely so scratched you couldn't see through it. It was just not scratched like somebody had been scratching, but it was like it was covered in micro scratches so much that it was just like frosted glass. You couldn't see through it. I'm like, what the I just instantly took all the sprues and put them in my bits box and said, I'm not even going to bother making that. I mean, it only cost me £7. It was £7, so I'm not really that fussed, but it was disappointing. I was like, oh, it's a build I made when I was a kid. Let's get back and rebuild this. And your Junkers JU52. Sorry, Junkers, not Junkers, idiot. Junkers JU52 with the floats. Brilliant. It was a massive, I loved it. And I think it was one of the first kits I ever airbrushed. Was a JU52. I remember vaguely. I was like, 20 and I didn't know what I was doing. I had a crappy airbrush from Halfords, but it was one of the first things I airbrushed. It was just green with the blue underside. I didn't do camouflage on it, I don't think. And yeah, it was just absolute garbage. It was like, it's not even worth just building it, because even if I built it, the canopy was just... The canopy frame was moulded into the clear part, which is normal, but you couldn't tell because it was so just... It was just a smooth mess. It was just a smooth canopy-shaped mess. And if you know the JU52, you know one of its features is the sort of real conservatory window latticey canopy. It's got all these like tons of little frames. It's really quite a nice canopy. It's like a frame canopy, like a greenhouse. And it wasn't recoverable. The framework on it was so impossible to see. You couldn't have painted it. You couldn't have masked it off. And it was just completely opaque. It was like, this is just... So I just put it in the bits box. And bits of it have appeared on models ever since, here and there, from time to time. Yeah, there's lots of models I've not made because I bought them and never got around to making them. We've all got that stash, but that's the only model I've ever bought, opened, and then never even bothered assembling. There's been models I started and never finished. Various reasons that I lost the will to live with it, or I just moved on to something else and never finished it. My Mackie Raider was the same. I got that assembled and then I don't know why, but I just kind of stopped, threw it out in the end. I think I'd done a bad job of sealing all the gaps and things, but yeah, I lost the will to live with that. So yes, but yeah, that crappy old air. I mean, there was like a 1970s tooling, so if not even earlier. So I wasn't expecting, and it was £7. So come on, £7. You can't complain at £7 really. But still, it was beyond redeemable. It was beyond redemption. The redemption was not possible for this kit. But let's have a look at the chat. Yeah, if you ever meet me in real life, be prepared to run screaming. I don't do running. Paul Dismassa says the 1999 Eagle is nice, but I kind of prefer the look of the Hawk Mark 9. Yeah, it's quite nice, that one with the pointy nose. It's quite a nice model. Rabbit says, Bradford, I'm covered in juice and need help. Best line from all Star Trek ever. Oh yeah. No, I think the best line from Lower Decks is in the first episode, where Marina's drunk and she brings out a batleth because she's been stealing stuff or whatever, And Mariner says, "What is it?" And she's, "So what are you doing with that?" And she tries to say it's a batleth, but she can't say it, and I can't deliver it the way she does. But she goes, "It's a bat. It's a bat. It's a bat." I'm not a Klingon scientist. I don't know what it is. But she just the way she says it got me like crying, laughing when she said it. Oh, now we need to figure out Fox's Reddit name. I'm not very exciting on Reddit. I've done a few posts on like the Starfield thing and the Cyberpunk group, and I think a couple of other things here. It's not very exciting. Nothing worth shouting about. Trust me. You mean it had more flash than a mop and bucket, or more flash than a freak in a trench coat? Hey, more flash than a 50-year-old pole dancer. Oh, says Paul Di Tommaso. Ouch. I can't see the iPad when it's over there. Worst kit I've had the displeasure of attempting was an AMT Ertl OS Star Trek Enterprise Bridge diorama. Just garbage. Shellard says the Airfix do that and label it as a classic. Yeah. I remember I had the old when I got back into modelling about 10 years ago. The first thing I did was, and the thing that got me back into it was I remembered that up in the loft I had the old AMT Ertl Snowspeed kit, which was huge. It was actually massive. It was a real, I don't know what scale it was. It was kind of non-scale. It was almost like 1/35. It was enormous, right? And it was all right. I mean, it wasn't exactly 100% accurate, but it was all right of a kit. The only thing it was really lacking was interesting and accurate cockpit interior details. There were some details, but it wasn't, you know, that complex. It was just basically it was a square bucket shape with a couple of flat seats. So they could have done more detail on the cockpit, but we're going back to a kit that was made in the 1980s, so you're probably expecting a bit much there. But the thing that set it apart, and this is not my name, so please do not take offence, but it's widely known that the kit included a pair of thalidomide pilots. That's what they were known as on the forums in the day, because the two crew members, they designed the Snowspeeder in such a way that it would be physically impossible for a normal shaped human to actually sit in the seat and have access to all the controls and sit normally. And I think they realised that because these guys had like little stubby legs and like arms that were like 9 foot long, and they just looked ridiculous. They just looked absolutely crazy. So I kept them and I painted them up and I did my best, but yeah, they were terrible. And I added like they were quite rubbish little figures. They didn't have like the boxes that the pilots wear on the chest, you know, the little box with the lights and stuff, and they didn't have any of that. Oh, they had a little box shape, but it wasn't very good. And stuff, so I added little bits of details like that and the straps to it on the chest and did my best. But you know, I hadn't made a model for 25 years and I was still brush painting Tamiya paints at the time. I hate to say it, yeah, because I hadn't figured out brush painting at that point. So, and looking back on it now, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. But hey, it got me back into the hobby. And bizarrely, it was a really good Snowspeeder model. It wasn't accurate, but it was massive. So if you can find one, it's a good template to build a decent Snowspeeder model off of. You could do a lot of customization work. There's probably aftermarket kits for it, bits for it, but yeah. Its size alone makes it worth it if you can find it. But yeah, the strangely deformed, not quite normal human pilots. Oh, that was so weird. How are we doing? We've done... How many have we done so far? We've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 18 dudes, and we've got about 30 to go. Yay! Lol, classic. Relive the bad old days, says Jeff. AMT Ertl scale equals some random one. Luis from Accounts Payable tried his best to guess from a quick look from 3 floors up and 2 buildings over. What scale is that? About 3 cups and a bushel. 3 cups to a bushel, okay. Yes. Apologies if any of this is off camera. I keep forgetting where the actual camera is. There's a magpie out shouting. It's shouting at somebody. Hello, magpie. Do you know, we've got crows that keep hanging around, that live around here. They fly over from time to time. And I really want to become crow friend. There's a thing, it's called crow friend, and basically you can become crow friend. Not a crow friend, it's just crow friend. By, you know, you can build a relationship with your local crows to the point where they treat you as almost like a member of the pack, as it were, but they bring you gifts and you bring them gifts and this kind of, and they remember you and they get comfortable with your presence and stuff like that. And you can physically, it's a thing you can physically do if you have a group of crows living near you. And all you have to do is basically just feed them over a period of time, feed them, and over time you get them used to you being there when they put the food out, so they get to see you and they associate the food with you, and that's when they start to build a relationship. And eventually they get to the point where they bring you gifts. And when you get to that point, that's when you know you are crow friend. And I'd love to do that. I read about it. I was like, what? But unfortunately for us, if I put food out for them, they just get eaten by all the other birds or the squirrel. So it's like, there's no point. I can't try. I can't start that relationship, sadly. It's a bit rubbish. But I was watching one video of a woman she did that, and she grew the relationship with her local crows to the point where she can sit in the garden and they'll just all hang around in the garden, and like they'll even, like, if she's sat by a table in the garden, they'll just jump on the table and hang out with her. She put like nuts and stuff on the table and they'll come down and get them. They'll happily have the little babies running around. It's like, I love that, because crows are awesome. But yeah, apparently peanuts, still in the shell peanuts, is a good way to get their attention. But like I say, if I did that, I'd just get all the squirrels diving in the garden, and it wouldn't end well. So yeah, sadness. But it would be cool to be crow friend. Again, it's not a crow friend, it's just crow friend. They weren't like other pilots, they had snake arms, says Andy about the snow speeders. Was going to get the Airfix Bentley till I viewed the condition in a recent review. Is that a new one or the old 1980s one? Because I think every young boy in Britain in the 1980s probably did the old Airfix Bentley, or was it Matchbox kit at the time? It's got the picture on the front of the racing green Bentley. And we've all built that, and it was terrible. Well, when we were kids, it was great. Rabbit says, I have wild friends in the back garden. I'm not cool with the opossum and the rabbit, but the raccoons under the deck are hanging out on the deck, and they've popped on the deck now, and I have a poop deck. Yeah, literally a poop deck. Yeah, but you don't want to get too close to raccoons there, because they can be quite feisty, can't they? So, poop deck. Is it wrong that I wish we had raccoons in this country? I know they're a massive pest, and they can spread rabies and other things and diseases, and they can be quite aggressive and to other pets and stuff. But is it wrong that I wish we had raccoons in this country? That'd be great. I like animals. Animals are so much better than people. People are rubbish. Animals are great. Poop deck. Anywhere you've got raccoons is a poop deck, quite literally. Trash pandas. I bet if you don't speak French, you won't know this, but in French, the French name for raccoon is raton laveur. And I can't remember what raton means, really, literally, but laveur means washing or washer. And they're called raton laveur because they wash their food. A wild raccoon will, if it catches, say, a fish or some food, it'll wash it in water. And it looks like it's washing its hands. That's why in French they're called raton laveur. Because they're whatever a raton is, I guess it's like rat or mouse or something that washes its food or washes its hand. Quite a good name. Not as good as Trash Panda, of course. Fresh Panda, of course, is the premium name for raccoons. Whoever came up with that was having a good day when they came up with that. Right, that's him done. I'm running out of places to put these dudes now. I believe we have a couple of groundhogs living under our shed in the backyard. Alan! 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 I have family on Vancouver Island, and it's a serious crime to bring squirrels across the ferry. We've lost. We've got our natural squirrel is the red squirrel, but they're actually been endangered for a very long time because the damn foreign grey squirrel just took over. So we've got squirrels, but they're just the boring grey squirrels. I mean, I quite like them; they're quite cute, but they're still just grey squirrels. I've never seen a red squirrel. Red squirrels are amazing, bright orangey red colour, but I've never seen one. Around here, they're all grey squirrels. They came from Europe, and they took over and just I guess they just outcompeted the Reds a bit and were more successful than the natives. Oops. And I can't remember if red squirrels are now protected species. I think they might be. I think grey squirrels are classed as vermin, but red squirrels are actually protected. I think. I can't quite say for sure. I could just be making that up. I don't know. The heron flew over the other day. I've forgotten how big it was. I haven't seen it for a while. It just flew over and I was like, damn, son, you're huge. I was like, that's no moon. Excuse me for the tickly throat. It's quite hard when you're talking all day. I don't know which bits of these are grey, so I'll just do it on camera and I'll give it a wash anyway, just in case. I suspect none of it will end up grey, but I shall risk it for a biscuit and see what happens. Okay, that's him done. Getting there slowly. We've done that one. I have family on Vancouver Island. We've done that one. Just think the dry brushing thing's going to take twice as long as this. And the next one. It's weird because my ears are a bit weird at the minute because of whatever it is, head cold or infection or whatever. It's affecting my balance ever so slightly, I guess, because it's my inner ears. So if I stand up quickly or if I can be a little bit dizzy just for a second. But when I put my lenses on to see what I'm doing, it makes it even worse. Every time I flip my lenses up to read my iPad, I'm like, whoa, a little bit of spinny there. Ooh, hello. I'm really, really hungry. And I hate to say it, but a sweet potato and feta cheese pie sounds really nice. I'm sure it's delicious, but it's not going to. It's not really going to hit my meat centre, is it? My meat gland. It's not going to scratch that itch. My body at the minute is in a. Your body demands certain food types. At the minute, for the last few weeks, it's just been in 100% permanent filth mode. It just demands filth at all times. I'm feeling a bit hungry. Kebab. Wait, what? No, I just want a sandwich. No. Curry rice and chip. Wait, no. I just want hamburgers. What? No. Oh. I find myself thinking about filthy food all the time now. It's like, oh. Dee 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 dee. There we go, that's that one. I've not even had a look at how these are coming out. Let's check one of the first ones I did, see how it comes out. It comes out like... How's that looking? That's how he comes out, a bit darker, a bit grimmer, compared to an ungrimmed one. So you see, and it's basically purely is just to, because it's hard to explain the Space Wolves colour. It varies from painter to painter basically, but I want them to look a little bit dingy because Horus Heresy armour's in short supply, nobody can get replacements, everything's battered and beaten. So that'll give me a dark shadowy now, a contrast. So when I do the dry brushing with the Mechanica Standard Grey, which is what colour that is, it'll have a contrast, and then I do another highlight, it'll look even more contrasty. So you've got to put your shadow in before you do your highlights. Munchkin Modelling Man 72 says, hey Fox and all. Then says, hey Stefan, Munchkin hugs. Welcome, my friend. I caught one of the poop deck trash pandas trying to get into my bin, so I rattled the doorknob and he just stared at me like, what are you going to do? Called my bluff and won. Yeah. My brother lives in Tennessee, and this is something alien to us, but he says they've had to basically get these big clampy lock things go on the bins, on the wheelie bins, because if you don't have a big locking clamp mechanism, that even if it's a locking bin, they can just get in. They can figure that out. He said he's come in the house and found them in the kitchen before now, in the fridge. So it's like, so they've got locks on the fridge and the freezer. They've got like locks on the bins. They even had to put a big massive locking system. Years ago, they used to have a house with a hot tub outside. They had to put a lock on that because they'd find them in the hot tub. Yeah. Mark Shellow says, any road runners to Jeff? Meep, meep. We now have coyotes in the neighbourhood. I haven't seen a bobcat yet, but they have been seen nearby. Coyotes, wow. Or they are El Coyote Coyo, as they would say in Cyberpunk. El Coyote Coyo. It'd be kind of cool if they weren't obviously potentially a threat, especially to household pets and to small children. Because, I mean, you know, we've got a fox, and it's awesome to see the fox in the garden. You think, oh, we've got a fox, it's gorgeous, it's lovely, look at that, it's amazing, it's nature at its best. You don't fear a fox, although if you've got a small cat or dog, they can be a threat, but, you know. But a coyote, yeah, maybe you might not be so keen as if you found a coyote in your garden, but... I don't know. We have the advantage of nothing in this country is particularly dangerous or wants to kill us in any way. We've got the adder, the venomous snake. No, not poisonous, venomous. Always makes me laugh when people confuse poisonous and venomous. Is that snake poisonous? No, but if it bites you, you'll die. Because it's venomous. Did you know, here's a thing for you. You may know this, but you know, like bearded lizards, bearded dragons are quite a popular pet. They're big soppy buggers, and they're quite affectionate, quite cool. A lot of people have bearded dragons. They can get quite big. Did you know they are actually venomous? Nobody realised until I think about 3 or 4 years, 5 or 6 years ago, and they suddenly realised they actually have venom glands, and they have a venom. They are venomous. However, thankfully, it's such a mild venom that it poses no risk to humans at all, and they're really placid anyway. They wouldn't actually attack a human, but they are actually venomous. Bearded dragons. There you go. You learn a thing every day on my live streams. Like and subscribe. Liking and subscribing, thank you very much. Bearded dragons, they will kill you and eat your children. They won't really. They're lovely. They're lovely little fellas. They really are lovely little fellas. Your bird friend has a lot to say tonight, says Rabbit. No, that's not a bird. That's next door's little baby. Next door, they've got like an 8-year-old, and they've got a little remember they went to, I said they went to India just before the chocolate velociraptor outbreak and got stuck there for a year and a half. Well, it seems they didn't waste much time, because when she came back they had another baby. So, you know, Mrs. got pregnant over there and she had to stay for an extra 6 months. So, yeah, so it's a little kid. Who's, I can't remember his actual name, because it's quite a nice name. It's I think it's Hindu, maybe. I'm not sure if it's Hindu or something, but anyway, I don't know what they are. I was told they're actually Catholics, which is quite bizarre for an Asian family, but I don't know if they're religious at all. Anyway, he's got quite a pretty name. I can't remember what it is, but anyway, he's also known as Happy. His nickname's Happy. They just call him Happy, and he's quite a happy, smiling little kid. I think he's about 8-9 months now or something. But yeah, he's making little noises. I don't think he could decide if he wanted to cry or not. He's like, I don't know. Am I unhappy? I don't know. I don't think he'd fully committed himself to a screaming session. Maybe he was unhappy about something, but really couldn't be bothered doing the crying. I don't know. Yes, that wasn't a bird. The only birds you'll ever hear out my window on a live stream are like magpies and occasional crow. Or you might hear the wood pigeons, but they're loud, but not maybe loud enough for the microphone to pick up. But I did find it vastly amusing that I was reading a thing on bird calls, because we were a couple of summers ago, Mama Fox and I were sat in the garden. It was a beautiful summer's day, and we were listening to different birds and trying to figure out what they were. Some of them we didn't recognise their calls, so we were looking up online different bird calls and stuff, how to identify birds from their shouts or songs, depending on the bird. And I was quite amused that when it described wood pigeons, it described the wood pigeon's song as a cooing sound, but follow the rhythm of saying, "My knee hurts, Betty, my knee hurts, Betty, my knee hurts, Betty, my knee." If you know wood pigeon now, so every time I hear a wood pigeon now, I can hear it going, "My knee hurts, Betty, my knee hurts." I don't know, that's the rhythm of it. They were kind of using, the way they described the rhythm of various bird calls was to do onomatopoeia and say, do it in words, so you could say, it's like a chirping sound, but it sounds like, and it's like, I can't not hear that now. My knee hurts, Betty. My knee hurts, Betty. I do have a video of a female fox digging her den out, says Munchkin. Cool. I got a little footage. Mama Fox over the years has seen a fox in the garden, on and off. But it was about a year ago, for the first time, I actually saw the fox sitting in the garden. I've witnessed it once before, or one of them at the back of the garden, because we had fox cubs living under the old decrepit, fallen apart garden shed for a while, many years ago. And I actually filmed it. I saw it sitting in the garden, and then I saw it walking at the back of the garden, and I filmed it for about 10 seconds. It just looked at me and then walked away. I was in the kitchen. But when I saw it sat in the garden, it was basically just sat plonked right in the middle of the garden. Excuse me. I need to clear my throat. One sec. It was just plonked right down in the middle of the garden. And the magpies were like jumping around, shouting at it and hassling it, basically. And it wasn't doing anything. It was just sat there. And what was really funny was it was just, the magpies were going bananas shouting at it. But it was just sitting there looking at nothing. And it was like seeing like a parent. I imagine you've got like a dad sat there and he's got like 3 kids running around making loads of noise around him. And he's just sitting there staring into space going, what? And this fox just sitting there just like, what? I'm just trying to sit. What? Come on, lads. Just, can I not get a minute's peace? It's quite funny. It wasn't interactive. It was just sitting there like, please, just go away. Leave me alone. I'm just going to chill out on the grass. It's warm, what? And the magpies are like running up to it and like trying to freak it out. And it's just like, what? Just go away. Come on. Bugger off. I'm trying to chill out. I've had my lunch. I'm not ready for a poop just yet. I just want to chill out for half an hour, catch some rays, and then just go off and, you know. Come on, lads. No, they didn't let up. It sloped off in the end. It kind of looked at me as if to say, can you just... I don't think it was having a good afternoon. Then when I filmed it, this was last summer I think it was, when I filmed it, it was like the height of summer, so it was all scraggly and its tail was all in bits, because obviously they shed their fur because it's summer. So it was looking a bit worse for wear, bless it. It wasn't looking exactly well maintained. What's going on with that? Bit of plastic in there. I don't know if you can see it, there's like a little bit of plastic in between the flag and the rod. I'll have to clean that out at some point. I've never noticed that before. Like a little bit of flash or something. That'll need sorting out. Gosh darn it, if I remember. I may not remember. I don't know. He's not happy. He's squeaky. Oh, a human crotch goblin. They can be cute sometimes, says Rabbit. I tend not to particularly like children. I don't really like kids, so... I tend not to find babies and children cute or adorable. I just find them noisy and annoying. I have no parental or paternal instincts at all. If I'm near a child, I've just got that kind of, can you make it go away now, please? Look on my face. Just nothing. I just have no parental instincts at all. All my brothers have got kids. Thousands of them. I'm like, nope, never happening. Not far too selfish to give up. Yeah, no parental instinct. And you guarantee there's always somebody that says, yeah, you say that until you have your first kid, and I'm like, nope, not going to happen. Trust me, I know it. Not going to happen. No desire, no interest. Geez, just ugh. No parenting gene in me at all. I think they were all removed when I was made. Off camera again, sorry. Bit too much of that. Let's get that off from pooling. Ah, he's pooling. Pooling going on there. We'll sort that out. There you go. Gentlemen, do not be pooling. There we go. That's that one. This is the kind of task that can be quite tedious unless you've got something to listen to or you know, in the background. But I'm exceptionally lucky that I can do it and live stream, which is even better, because the best thing you can do when you're doing something tedious like this is to have people to talk to. So I could listen to a podcast, or I can do it as a live stream and have company while I'm doing it. So I do thank you for keeping me company. I shall have a look at chat in a second. Don't forget, of course, if you're new to this channel, I know most of you aren't, but if you are new to this channel, if you want to help support this channel and keep it alive, because I do this for a living, this is my job, then please do consider becoming either a patron or a channel member. You can go to patreon.com/modelmakingguru to become a patron. Or if you want to become a channel member, you can simply press the join button underneath any one of my videos or this live stream or anything like that. Either way, whichever you choose, you're very kindly helping to support the channel. It's always nice to support the creatives that you enjoy their content, because it means I can keep doing it. So you get access to that. You're helping me out. You get access to, If you remember, you get access to like free little icons and stuff in YouTube chat. I will be doing my part work live streams exclusively for patrons and channel members going forward. Exclusively for them. Everybody else will just get to watch them afterwards. And you also get access to the live but offline 24/7 Zoom hangout for patrons and channel members of both my channel and Festa's channel, where you can hang out. It's a safe space where you can just hang out, chill with the other members and patrons. You can be on camera or you can just do audio only, however you want to do it. And there's an associated Facebook group as well, if you just want to do text chat, or if you want to coordinate people going into the video hangout. So, please do consider supporting the channel. Without my Patreon channel members, I would have to go and get a job, and I wouldn't be able to do this, and I wouldn't be able to spend all day looking after Mama Fox. So a big thank you to all of them. Right, so that's that one done. Yeah, a little bit of blobbiness there. Let's get rid of that. Pooling, go away, pooling. Every time I say pool your resources, every time I need to clear my throat again. 1 second. Sorry, guys. There we go. A little bit better. Still got the sniffles like. Every time I say pooling, I then think of pooling our resources, and every time I think of pooling our resources, I can hear Inigo from the Skyrim mod going, pooling our resources. Edward Leonard is in. That was a bit close up, I suppose, for Squishy. Welcome, Edward. Big hugs. McLeish says, Leonard. Pigeons, 'cause they coo, says Andy. Have a robin hanging about it. Surprises me because I thought they were a winter thing, says Shellard. No, they're around all year. You can hear them in the summer singing around in the trees. They tend to live all year. Wendy Hickson's in. Big hugs, Wendy. She says, hi and hugs, everyone. Sorry late, but it was Invert's Rehome and all that goes with it. Invert's Rehome. What's Invert's Rehome? I don't know what that means. All good. If you want a note, take it up with my tarantulas. They will be happy to help. Ah. Oh, Invertebrates Rehome. Ah, okay, I got you. Invertebrates Rehome. Obviously rehoming them. You're putting them in different... I get you. I know what you mean now. Tarantulas, cool. Welcome, Wendy. Big hugs to you. I haven't opened me tool thing yet that you've sent me. I did get myself, though... Oops. I did get myself the relevant tray. You know what that is. I haven't opened yours yet. I might do that on a mystery package video. Well, I'm going to have to go and get ready for work. Wait, 18 watching and 14 thumbs up. Come on, peeps. So take care. Bye. Great show, Fox. Thank you, Lynn. Take care. And enjoy your day at work. Thank you for coming along. Big hugs. Hi. Bye, Wendy, says Lynn. Yes. Yes, Wendy sent me and Festa some awesome things that we will find most useful. Most useful. And I shall film a thing for it. Because I've still got something else I need to do a mystery package for. It's the thing that I was sent like months ago that I've not opened yet. That I need to do a mystery package for, because that requires some assembly. It is wood. Tarantulas. I like tarantulas. They're kind of cool. Tarantulas. I've held a tarantula. They were awesome. I've told you before. It was like a metallic silver thing with orange knees. It was beautiful. It really was like somebody just sprayed it with lead belch. It was amazing. It's like, I don't really see what evolutionary advantage being like metallic silver would be to a spider, but it clearly works. It's like, what's the evolutionary chain of events that led to that? there's an advert in Cyberpunk as you're driving around the city or go around the city. There's always adverts and billboards, but then there's adverts that don't actually have associated billboards or signs. They just play over the city PA system, and some of them are about the city, and some of them are just random things. And one of them I've not quite figured out what it's for. I think it's for a restaurant. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I can't quite tell all the words it says in the English version. Sometimes it's Spanish, but it's for a restaurant, and it says "Eat to your heart's content" at, I think it's Coyocon. I can't quite tell what it says, but it's got this like little mariachi band music sting behind it, and it's stuck in my head so much. I just whistled it a minute ago. It's like, oh, it's so stuck in my head. As you're walking around, you hear this little mariachi band tune. It's like, oh, there it is. I think he's good to go. Any poolage? No. Look at the popularity. I need to make sure all the guys with chain blades have paint on them. Has he got one? I think he's got one. He's got a stabby knife. He's been done. He's not been done. There you go. I only gave chain blades. Si Reynolds got me worried the other day because he said, basically with these chain blades, if you give it to one, you've got to give it to the whole unit, otherwise it breaks the rules. And I was like, oh crap, because I'm going to sell this. And I started panicking, but then I realised that I'd read through all the blurb that comes with the kit. And it said something like one member of the group may have the chain blade. Oh no, it says any Marine may take a chain blade. I'm like, well, that kind of leaves it open to interpretation then, doesn't it? So I think I might have a way out on that. So I've only given it to the Nuncio Vox guys. Maybe because they haven't got loads of other weapons, so they're too busy being radio dudes. So we'll give them a chain blade. One of the Praetors now. There's so much gold filigree and trim on this guy. It's going to be challenging to paint, but that's why I want to do the shade and dry brushing now, so that once that's done I can paint the trim and stuff over that and not worry about getting dry brushing on all the fiddly trim. It's always good when you're painting you don't have to overthink it, but just do try and get a basic painting order in your mind, because the worst thing you can do is like, paint this guy and spend like 3 hours painting all the gold trim and then realise you've got to dry brush one of the other colours, and you can't do it because now you've got limited space. So it's always worth just planning your steps. Try and plan ahead what you're going to do to a certain, even just as a basic level. And then say, right, do I need to do any of this before any of this other stuff? Is there any of this that needs to happen at a certain point? Because if I do it after or before, it's going to go wrong. Like, for example, for me, I'll need to put some of the decals on right at this early stage, because I want to do chipping. I want the grey paint to be chipped, and I want the red pauldron to be chipped. And there'll be decals on the grey, and there'll also be some of them will have red pauldrons with a decal on the pauldron. So I need to make sure I do all the base dry brushing and shading, then put the decals on the grey parts, then do my chipping, because I could do the decals later and then brush paint chips over, but if I'm going to do the chipping with a sponge, I may as well do it all in one go, and it'll look uniform. It won't look like I've brush painted some chips and I have to go back and do it all again. It's all consistent then. So get the decals on, then do my sponge chipping on the grey paint, and then once that's done, because of course that'll go everywhere because it's sponge chipping, once that's done I can then go and paint my red and black pauldrons, and then do chipping on them after I put the decal on, if there is one. And then once I've done that, then I can start doing all the gold trim and the metal parts and all the other bits and bobs that need to be taken care of. That's going to be black on that. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a black pauldron, so I'll shade it anyway, but I think it's meant to be black. So it's just a little bit of plan. You don't have to plan it like excessively, but it's just knowing some basic stuff, and you don't have to stick to that. You know, I'll probably change my mind halfway through and do a load of other stuff. But as long as you've got a rough idea of what you need to do and you've got it roughly planned out, so you know you're not going to suddenly find that you spent hours painting something and you've now got to do chipping over the top of it, which is a pain in the bum. Because that would suck balls, quite literally. So don't do that. Always have a rough idea of what you want to do. Should I put some wash on that rock? I may as well, might now. Probably end up just leaving that Mechanica standard grey as well, to be honest, and putting some other colours on it. I might not, I might do something else with it, but for now. There we go. Right, so that's that Praetor done. You can see here, by the way, I said the other day when I did a post on Facebook, this is not the actual sword that comes with him, because that's a modern Space Wolf power sword, chainsword thing. He has a normal pointy power sword, but I knocked him and snapped it in half, and it was like a diagonal cut. And I tried fixing it, but it looked really obvious because it was just like split about there. I tried fixing it, and it would have worked, sort of, but it wouldn't have been a very strong fix because I just glued them back together, and I would have had to sand it back, and that would have weakened it even more. So in the end, what I decided to do was just thought, you know what? Forget it. Let's just take the spare sword that's out of the modern Space Wolves, the 40k Space Wolves set. I cut off the hand that had the original power sword. I cut him at the wrist, and just because the sword comes with the hand on it, and just plopped that in place. Trimmed it a little bit to fit, and it's just about the right size. It's not exactly the right size, the hand, because it's a 40k hand and a 30k Marine, but it's about the right size. It works fine, and it's kind of a bit rule breaky because he's supposed to have a power sword, not a chainsaw, but I'll get away with it. It's either that or not have a sword, so that's not going to happen, is it? Let's have a quick look at chat. Oh, no new choice. There is. There is. Where is it? There it is. I need to set aside... Oh, hello. Hang on. Just ping my brush across the room. Yeah. I need to set aside some model building time and visit the 24/7 Hangout again soon, says Jeff. Yeah. I need to visit the Hangout at some point. Just took my late cat's urn out of the box to place on the mantle. All the feels, says Rabbit. Aww. But the thing is, if you place it on the mantle, if it's a cat, would it want to knock itself off? You have to ask the question. The irony would be profound. Wendy Hickson says, glad you managed to get one. Some extra things for you. Thank you very much. I've not opened it yet. It's a very large box for that thing you've sent me, so I'm guessing there's something else in there. Thank you. Colin's had his now. He's opened his up and he's made a little thing for it, but I haven't got a 3D printer, so. There's no lower feeling, Retro Rabbit. My heartfelt condolences. Yep, same too. I know I joke, but same too. I'm going to go lay down, says Paul. Been feeling blah the last couple of days. Oh, sorry to hear that, Paul. Get yourself a bit of a snooze and a rest. Hope you feel a bit better soon. Thank you for stopping by. Maybe we'll see you later on Colin's midnight stream. If not, take care of yourself, and hugs to Wendy. Dawn. Why did I say Wendy for? Hugs to Dawn. Wendy says, I saw my scorpion today. They had made a tunnel under some sphagnum moss. I've got to do it. I've got to stand up for this. Sphagnum moss. Well, let's say I need more tubs, lol. Yeah, you got quite a few, have you? Just the one, Mrs. Wembley. I like that word, sphagnum. That takes me back to like secondary school biology lessons. I don't know why, it just does. And for some reason it takes me back to like watching educational programmes on ITV with Jack Hargreaves and narrating a programme about urban plants and sphagnum moss and nobody will get that. It's all living in the 70s and 80s. Sphagnum moss, made to make your things mossy. Just think of all the water bears living in that moss. Oh, hundreds or millions or thousands of tiny little water bears pootling about in your moss. Get your microscope out, get some moss and look at the tardigrades. You've not just got scorpions and scorpions, you've got tardigrades in there as well. That's brilliant. The best guests you never knew you had. Tardigrades! Look at the tardigradularity. Do. I find it vastly amusing that when Star Trek Discovery first came out and they had the ship with this new mycelial spore drive with its giant space tardigrade and its mycelial network and stuff. And then, in short measure, some guy turned up and said, I kind of wrote a book called Tardigrades, and it had a ship powered by a giant tardigrade, and you've kind of stolen my idea completely. And Paramount completely denied it. But then, from the second series onwards, it's barely even mentioned. They came up with a plot contrivance so they could stop using it. It's like, quelle coincidence. We've not ripped off your idea, but we're going to stop using it for no specific reason. Thank you. Goodbye now. I think his story was just called Tardigrade, some author. Basically, it was just exactly the same thing. They just ripped it off. It's like, really? Heartbreaking losing a pet, says Mark. It is. Pets are family. They certainly are. Even squishies are family, Edward. You know that. Take care, Paulo. Get some rest, buddy. Rest up, my friend. If he could knock himself off the mantle, that would be hilarious, says Rabbit. It would be the cat way. I could see a comic strip of that now, says Munchkin. Adorable Wendy, can scorpions be kept together or do they each need their own tub? Mecha Platypus is in and says, where are the Night Lords? Where? They're in your heart. I can't demonstrate. I was going to point to my heart and say in here, but you can't see that. Never had more than one black scorpion, says Munchkin. Is the Artemis launch still planned for tomorrow, says Jeff. I think it is. I kind of just knew it would go to pot. Part of me just thought, it's NASA, it's not going to work. Something's going to go wrong. It's just prone to just not work, and it didn't. It's like, oh, really? They're so underfunded, bless them, NASA. They're just so critically underfunded. The funding they get is so, like, such a tiny percent of the US GDP, and they get so little of it. As a science nerd, I'd fully support them getting more. But, hey, what are you going to do? Hope it works though, because I do want to see dudes and dudettes on the moon in my lifetime. I was a year late to see Apollo. Let's see Neil Armstrong land on the moon. I wasn't a year late for the rest of the Apollo. I think I was born in 71, but I was too little. I didn't really experience that. I'd like to say that in my lifetime I saw humans on the moon. Humans on the moon. I'd like to say in my lifetime I'd saw humans on Mars, but I don't think I'll be around long enough for that to actually happen. Sounds pessimistic, but in all realistic thought, I don't think I'll be around long enough for that to actually be something that I witness. Which is sad, but hey. And that's the weird thing with death. Death! I'm not afraid of it. I'm not scared of it. The only thing that makes me sad about knowing that I'll drop off the twig one day is not anything else other than all the stuff, all the cool shit that I'll miss. I'll want to experience. That's what makes me sad. No, my luck, I'll drop off the twig like the day before man lands on Mars or something. I don't know. Just the day before we discover alien life, or fusion energy, or power, or all the cool stuff will happen within minutes of me dropping off the twig and going to join the aquarium. But I just know it's just the way my world goes. It's the way my life is. It's just the sadness of knowing what I'll miss. Right, that's him done. Ooh, foot, he's not done his foot. He's got a very clean foot. I don't want to know how you kept that foot so clean, young man. It's a little bit disturbing. Let's get these guys out and then we'll get them done up. I'll put these other guys at the back. I didn't actually put any wash on his sword, did I, his spoon? It's probably going to be black actually, so, or red. No, I'm not going to put any wash on the sword. Doesn't need that yet. And I keep getting my arm in shot, but it's because I've got to move these dudes around on this tray. I'd show you, but I'd have to move the camera, and it's all farting about then. La 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 la. It's nice to see them with some actual colour on them now, rather than just Mechanicus grey. Mechanicus. Have I done that one? Yes. Mechanicus standard grey. Fox, will we ever build another Gundam? I hope so, because I've got a big, dirty, great big Kshatriya under my bench. And I've also got a Sinanju, a 1/60th scale no-grade Freedom Gundam, not a no-grade. A Gyara Doga. And a whole stash of HGs and things in my front room. I will do. I just got burnt out on them because of the special treatment they demand when you're painting them, because they're so finicky. You can't just black. My usual weathering methods don't work because you've got to be careful with thinners and stuff. And I got burnt out on them with their specialist demands. So I will go back to them because I've got a dirty great big Kshatriya I need to do at some point. I'm looking forward to that. So I will. But I'm one of those people that I get bored very, very easily with, if I'm doing something, I get bored of it very easily. And if I get bored of something, it's really hard for me to get the motivation to go back and carry on with it, or go back to it later. But if I keep trying something that I'm bored with, I resent it and I do my worst work. So over the years I've learned, when I'm doing models and stuff, or any kind of creative thing, if I start to feel the boredom or the fatigue coming in with something, I just stop and put it away. And don't even think about it until I get jazzed for it and think, you know what, I really want to do that now. I can't push it. Because grudge building and grudge painting are two of the worst things you can do. If your heart's not in something, then when you do it, you're going to do a poor job and you're going to resent it. So I got burnt out with Gunpla, and I was like, you know what, I'm not feeling the vibe for it anymore, because they're so demanding when you paint them. Although I just figured out I could just glue it in a set pose, and that made life a lot easier, but still, so many of my techniques I had to be either not use, or I spent a lot of my time trying to think around how I can do various weathering and painting. And it was like, I don't want to be having to do critical thinking about how to, I just want to do it. Like these guys, I can just slap paint on, I can use enamels and oils, whatever I want to do, no problem. But so I got a little bit burnt out on them. And as soon as I started feeling that ennui, that fatigue with them, I'm like, right, I need to stop now. And I need to not do any more until it feels right, until I know that I'm going to put my heart and soul into it. Because it just wasn't fun anymore. I'd lost that fun. I know it'll come back. It will come back. Don't get me wrong. There'll be a point when I get so bored of doing Warhammer that I stop doing Warhammer for a while. That'll happen as well. It's just anything. I am surprised I've done Warhammer for as long as I have, because by now I should have given up and gone on to the next shiny thing. Because I really am that fickle and that desperately easily turned off something. You wouldn't believe. I mean, I can sit there and I can have an overwhelming desire to do a thing, whatever that thing might be, a creative project, or I don't know, writing or drawing, and it doesn't matter what it is, some kind of creative thing. And I'll wake up in the morning with the overwhelming desire to do it. I'll be like, right, today I'm going to build this or paint this or draw this or whatever it might be. And I wake up and I'm like, yeah, let's get up, get some breakfast, get washed, get mum out of bed, do it. And then by the time I get settled down, I'm like, I'm just going to read the internet now. Because the moment's passed and I really am that fickle. And I've had to learn over the years to work around that. You can't resist it. You can try your best to just ignore that part of you, but trust me, it's not worth it. If that's the way you are, if you're like me, if you can wake up super jazzed about something and then by the time you've got up and got washed, you're just instantly not interested anymore, then just all you can do is go with it. Because the quality of your work will suffer. Plus, nobody wants to sit and do something they don't want to do. That's what jobs are for. Not your own creative projects. So, yep. I've not felt the itch yet. I will do, eventually. I do occasionally have thoughts about that big Kshatriya and what to paint it as. Also, for some reason, coming up with paint schemes for Gunpla, if you're not painting the standard colours, is really hard. I don't know why. Because they're usually fairly simple, but just coming up with interesting colour schemes and these, like, just really stop me in my tracks for some reason. It's like when I was writing music, I could write the most complicated, deep and thoughtful bit of symphonic electronica a la Vangelis and Jarre. No problem, I just sit there and twiddle away at the keyboards and there you go. But ask me to write some simple dance music or a club theme and I'd be like, I can't, because sometimes simplicity makes things harder. It's weird. So, yeah. I'll go back to them. I've got enough kits to do anyway. Like I say, I really want to do the big 160 scale Freedom, because the Strike Gundam is my favourite mobile suit form anyway. Favourite form factor. So the Freedom. It's not the perfect grade. It's a no grade. It's got like... It's like a massive HG. And it's not even the Lightning Freedom Gundam. It's like that, but without the lighting setup. So it's quite rare apparently. And it's kind of really weirdly shaped. But it's like a massive... It's not even as complex as an HG, I don't think. But I got it when I got the Mega Size RX-78 too, and I thought, yeah, big... Because I was like, big Gunpla are so much more fun than small Gunpla. But I knew that, like, perfect grades, I wouldn't enjoy perfect grades as much because painting was so complicated on Gunpla with so many bits to take account of that painting a perfect grade would be even worse. I mostly finished a Zaku, but I never finished it for various reasons. But yeah, painting perfect grades was a bit more of a chore. But these like no grade 160s, there's like 20 pieces to it. I love doing the big Mega Size RX-78 too. That was great. Even though the knee joint exploded and fell apart because of the enamel paints. I understand why the plastic's like that, why Bandai do that, and it's the best way to do it. It just makes it unfortunate if you want to get into tricky-dicky weathering and stuff. If you're painting flat basic colours, then it's fine, it doesn't matter, but if you're doing any kind of weathering, it gets a bit tricky. I don't do clean builds. I shall have a look at chat in a moment. My stomach's making the feed me noises. Do, 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 do. Feed me some more. Okay, backpack. But that's the thing. If you're feeling, if you suddenly get that about something, just stop. That's why it's important to have more than one, maybe not hobby, but more than one thing that can help you pass the time. We all have times when we can't be bothered picking up the scalpel or the paintbrush and stuff, and we can't be bothered building or painting. But I know when that happens, I can go and play on the Xbox for a bit. until the urge to paint comes back or build comes back. It makes it worse that I say it all the time and I'm sick of saying it, but I'm a painter, not a builder. So for me, the building part of modelling is tedious. I hate the building part. It's boring. It's the painting bit that makes me happy and excited. So if I start to feel fatigue in the building part, then it's even worse because I've not even got to the painting part that I enjoy yet. So more often than not, it's going to be in the build section of a project that I start to feel the tug of ennui. As long as they're well fed, it should be okay. And yes, they will eat each other. Better to put them in tubs. That way you can see if they are eating and shedding their skin, says Wendy. Munchkin says, I have 2 shelves of Gundams to my left, MG, RG and HG, not counting the top of my desk behind me with 3 perfect grades on it. I learned so much from those early Gundam builds. They were my intro into scale models. Oh, I'm glad they helped. I started with the late 90s Gundams, were sold at a Toys R Us. Last year I hosted a Bandai GB and I hosted our Bandai GB and I built, primed and painted Char's PG Zaku. Weathered it too. Cool. Awesome. Ugh. I think I got tired of trying to find ways of weathering my Gunpla that weren't going to potentially cause damage. There were various things I could have done, but like various methods I thought of using, but that weren't satisfactory to me. I wanted to be able to use my enamels and my oils, but... what is your favourite Gundam model? Munchkin asks Jeff. Obviously it's a Strike, because that's the correct answer. No, Strike's my first personal favourite. Any of the Strike variants. Closely followed by Zaku, because you can't not like Zaku's. Come on, it's the crappy, rusted, rubbish, not very good Russian tank of the mobile suit world. Like, you know, your Gundams are your fighter jets, all pristine and pointy and full of death. Your Zaku is your whatever Russian T-79 with ablative armour plating actually made of just bits of paper in some metal, and they've got, you know, rolled up newspaper to deaden the sound of the cannon, and they're kind of made out of tractor bits. Half of the tank's probably made out of concrete or wood. Wood. But obviously with legs, of course, because it's not a tank, it's a mobile suit. But you get the idea. They're the mass-produced kind of junk. And they're kind of scrappy, I like them. I'll have a look in a minute and see which one he says. I was never a big fan of sort of the things like the X era and that kind of generation of suits. I don't know, there's just something about the designs of like the Strikes and that the Seed era are much more interesting to me. And the UC stuff, obviously, and the Seed era, the suits look more, I don't know, stylish. I'm talking purely on physical looks here, not like, you know, whatever, but things like the X era, I'm never a big fan of. It's nice, but things like the X era and the Astra and stuff, they just don't really float my boat. I think they went from looking like practical things to more like sci-fi coolness, which is fine, but it didn't do anything for me. I kind of like the suits in the Unicorn era. I quite enjoyed Gundam Unicorn. But I think that's because we got decent CGI 2D animation as well, probably, which for the first time they used CGI animation, which was quite good. I've not really watched much Gundam stuff for ages. The last thing I watched was the first season of Iron-Blooded Orphans, and I have to say I didn't like any of the mobile suits in that. They were horrible. I just didn't like them at all. From a design point of view, I mean, an aesthetic point, don't get me wrong, the kits are brilliant, but just from an aesthetic point of view, apart from that fat thing with the frog head, which looked quite good, I've forgotten the name of it now, it's been a few years, that fat thing, I've got one of them to build. That looked pretty good, but other than that, no, the actual suits, they look kind of like, No, not no. D D D D D D. See, I like the fact that in like the original Mobile Suit Gundam, the Zaku's look like practical things. They look like something, they look like a walking tank basically. They look like something that an army will build. Not so much with the other ones, but the Zaku's do. And even oddly, the RX-78 too, although it's all stylish and stuff, it's got a certain industrial mechanical look to it. He gets in it and he's got the manual in front of him how to fly it, and it's like you see him struggling to control it at the start, and it's a piece of machinery, it's a vehicle, and it looks and feels like a vehicle, even though it's all stylish and funky. Some of the other ones, not so much in the rest of the show, but the gun tank, it looks. But then you get some of the later series, and they just look over-designed and a bit silly, and it's like, no, not got the character of the originals. They're all good, but we all have our preferences. Right, that's him done. I think. Yes. What time are we on? Come up to 7:30. I'm going to get Mama Fox out of bed soon. I should be snoozing all night. I like the EXS series and anything from Gundam Sentinel. I've not seen either of them. Zaku's are fun to weather, absolutely, because again, just treat them like the knackered old Russian frontline, knackered old Russian T-62, T-79 tanks. Sorry, Fox, I like all Zaku's, but the Full Armour Gundam and Psycho Zaku are way up on that list. Nothing wrong with Zaku. Zaku's are all good. Full Armour Gundam, the Full Armour Unicorn. Oh, you mean the Full Armour Thunderbolt Gundam? Which one do you mean? The Psycho Zaku, yeah, the Psycho Zaku's mint. All the tanks. Cesabi and Sinanjo I really like. Oh yeah, I forgot about them. I've done a Cesabi. The Cesabi's absolutely actually awesome. I did my Cesabi, you probably saw it in the Borderlands colour scheme. A paint job. I'm building the Master Grade Unicorn Banshee this coming March for the 5th year of our Bandai Group build. Ooh. I did the Full Armour Unicorn, and I seriously got weapon fatigue. I got the Unicorn built, and I started doing all the weapons. I never got around to building the base jab because in the end I gave it away. But I thought to myself, as I was building it, I got to the fatigue point, and I'm like, I really don't want to have to paint this now because it's so much, taking me so long to build it, and I'm so tired of the build now. So I thought I'll just weather it. I'll leave it unpainted, but I'll paint some little accents here and there, and I'll weather it. I'll paint little metallic bits and stuff, but I'll just use the underlying white and grey plastic and matte varnish it in, because that's an option you can do with Gunpla. You don't have to paint them fully. You can, if the armour's white and the plastic's white, just leave it white and do weathering. But it didn't quite work out the way I planned, and it didn't look good. And I'm like, you know what? I've just given up the will to live with it now. In the end, I gave it away as a competition prize. I can't remember who won it now. Somebody won it. I think I was kind of a bit split on it because I was looking at the Unicorn suit and I'm like, I want to weather it, but at the same time, it's one of those mobile suits that doesn't look right weathered. There are some suits that just, they don't work if you weather them. Like a Zaku, absolutely weather the crap out of it because it's a garbage mass-produced suit. RX-78 Gundam, absolutely, because it gets absolutely battered in the show. But like the Unicorn, it's always clean on the show. It's always clean and sparkly. It's like I felt wrong weathering it, and I couldn't balance that in my brain, so I gave up in the end. I do like the Unicorn. I built the mega size Unicorn, and I did that metallic colours rather than white. Did it all shiny metal. It's quite good. I do like the Unicorn though. That's a good looking suit. I have both, but yeah, Thunderbolt. Yeah, I like the Thunderbolt full armour. That was quite good. I like the idea of the crinkly covers on the joints and stuff. That's proper NASA punk type design. I quite like that suit. That's quite nice. But then again, that suit's more in line with the traditions of the UC and Seed era. It's more of those kind of designs. It's when you start going off into the iron-blooded orphans and the really weird stuff that's all, don't know, they don't look practical anymore. They look pretty but not functional. That's when it gets a bit it doesn't actually harm that I really enjoyed the original Mobile Suit Gundam, and I actually enjoyed Gundam Seed. I quite enjoyed it. I also enjoyed Unicorn, although I thought they dragged the ending out for like far too many episodes. It's like the ending was like 5 episodes. I'm like, oh god, just open the damn box. To this point that I still can't remember what was actually in the Laplace's box after all that. No spoilers. They dragged it out for so long. I'm like, can you just open the... Oh, you're all just stood around the box. Open the... Oh! And I have to admit, with the Iron-Blooded Orphans, I quite like the series, although I did find it a little confusing. There was so much going on, and for the design, some of the characters looked like the other characters. I really kind of lost track of who the bad guys were and what the stakes were, and like, you know, Unicorn, fairly straightforward. Mobile Suit Gundam, you know who the bad guys are. Although it was always vague, but you know. I can't remember if I watched Gundam Seed Destiny. I think I did, or I started, but I don't think I finished it. I don't remember much about it, to be perfectly honest. I don't remember much. I really do wish they would redo the original Mobile Suit Gundam, though. Like, imagine if they took... And Mobile Gundam Origins... Mobile Suit Gundam Origins was good. I enjoyed that. That was really nice. It's really well done. And I just found myself wishing if they'd done that, but with the original Mobile Suit Gundam, just redone it. In the same way they redid Space Battleship Yamato 2199. They just retold the story, but with modern animation. And it was massively, vastly improved. And I thought if you could redo MSG, but with modern animation, because it's a very poignant, powerful story. It's quite an interesting story. You know, child soldiers and all this kind of stuff, and politics and everything else, but it's 1970s animation, which is frankly terrible. Let's be really honest. It's terrible to look at. It's hard to watch because it's such gunky animation. But yeah, if they redid that, I wish they would. Like I said, they did it for Space Battleship Yamato, and that was great. I tried watching some of the original Space Battleship Yamato after watching 2199, and I couldn't because it was so bad to watch. It was like, oh, really? Oh, this is terrible. Right, get this guy done. I think what I'll do, I'll get this guy done, and then we'll call it a show, because it's 7:30. I need to start getting Mama Fox up in a minute. We'll get this... I call these sergeants the big birds, because they've got the feathers on the head. So these are the big birds. I think what I'll do with the pauldrons is I'll give the sergeants... I'll have to have another double check and see how many pauldrons markings I've got. I also have to hope that the pauldron markings on the transfer sheet can be put on reverse, so I can put them on like back to front. Like normally you put the transfer on the right way around, but if you put it on the other way around with some decals, it still works. I'm hoping I can, because half of the wolf heads, all the gold wolf heads are designed for the left pauldron, so they're pointing that way. But put them on the right pauldron, they'll be pointing in the wrong direction. So I'm hoping I can just flip them over and use them back to front, if you know what I mean. Hopefully. So I think I'll make the sergeants and maybe the flag bearers have the red pauldrons, and they can have the gold wolfy head, maybe. Not sure. Sergeants definitely. I've got to choose them between the Vox operators or the guys with the flags, because they stand out. They can have the red marking. It's all just made up nonsense. Don't really care. As long as somebody buys it, I don't really mind. Somebody will. Hopefully. But then it's quite tricky because you don't get all the. You only get a small number of the Red Wolf logos, but I mean the Gold Wolf logos, which will go great on the Red Pauldrons. But then if you look up Space Wolves, Heresy era Space Wolves, I don't know where this Red Pauldrons come from, because a lot of the artwork just shows them as grey, and yet on some of the official GW videos it shows them painted the Red Pauldrons. Like, okay, well that looks cool. On some other bits it's Red Pauldrons. Like, I really don't know where that's come from. It's really just a mishmash. I'm not that familiar with Horus Heresy, you see, so I'm kind of winging it a bit. I'll just kind of mishmash it together, see what happens. Somebody will buy it. Right, he is done. Done and done. I think we should put that there. I think what I'm going to do, I'll leave it there for the live stream because it's 7:30. Give that brush a squish. I'll get the other guys finished. I'll stream again tomorrow, and I'll carry on doing this. I'll get the rest of the guys finished tomorrow. The wash done, and then we'll start the dry brushing. I won't do, like I say, I won't do the big Spartan tank or the Dreadnought because I'm going to do them on camera for filming. Rabbit says Gundam Sentinel was a photo novel, never had a series. Ah, right, I wonder why I never heard of it. Mark Shellard's off. Later, guys, catch up soon. Take care. 8th MS Team was also very good. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's really good. That was quite a good little series. Munchkin's given it a University of Michigan Wolverines paint scheme. I like that. There are so many weapons that come with it, the full armour. Yeah, I just gave up the will to live with it. There's all the millions of decals as well. I'm like, oh, I've given up the will to live. I can't do any more. I thought I heard somewhere they were remaking the first Mobile Suit Gundam. I wish they did. They did a hardcover manga of the whole Mobile Suit Gundam, and I know because I've got the first 6 volumes of it. My friend every year for my birthday buys me the next instalment. Each one's about that thick. Beautiful monotone black and white anime artwork. Of course it's Japanese, so it goes from back to front and right to left. It's really hard to get your head around when you're reading it. You're like, hang on, wait, what? Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, they did the graphic novel, which is like, I think there's 10 volumes. May not be around for the frolic tonight. If not, have a great night. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rabbit. I hope we'll see you, but if not, take it easy. Munchkin says 155 or so decals for the Unicorn. More, I think I counted about 200 and something. But I mean, yeah, that's a lot of decals. I did give up the will to live eventually with that. That's why I gave it. Where's the competition prize? Right, so we've done all them. We've done them. I've got them to go. There's the tank there. So what we'll do is we will come back tomorrow. Tomorrow we won't do Cyberpunk. I'm sure my ears will still be funky tomorrow. So we'll carry on with these tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Instead of Cyberpunk, we'll do we'll carry on with these and dry brushing and stuff. And then I might do some live streams during the week as I'm doing more dry brushing. We'll see. I might just get the dry brushing done. We'll see how it goes. But that's going to do us for today. I will see you, of course, later on tonight at midnight on Festa67's workshop channel, because we'll be doing the Friday Frolic, and Festa and I will be working on our Orc Stompers. We're painting those up. But until then, thank you very much to all of you for watching. Very kind of you to come and spend your afternoon with me. I really appreciate it. Have yourself a good evening, or morning, or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Don't forget, of course, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do. You can go to patreon.com/modelmakingguru and become a patron. Or you can press the join button underneath any of my videos and become a channel member. You can also, if you don't want to do either of those, you can just remember to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any live content. And don't forget, of course, if you can, when you watch my stuff, please let the adverts play all the way through, because that really massively costs you nothing and it really helps this channel out because it makes me some income. So give that a thought. Next time you watch my stuff, see if you can just sit and suffer through the advert, which is usually for, I don't know, some kind of how to write English advert or something. It's usually rubbish. But yes, that's going to do it. So thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. I will see you tomorrow, hopefully. about 5 o'clock. I'll let you know. I can't really set things up for a live stream until I know more Fox is up and about, so it'll be tomorrow afternoon. I'll post up any links and stuff for the stream. But take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Go paint something awesome. And until next time, I shall say, adios amoebas. Bye! Wasn't on camera. Where's my hand? There's my hand. Bye!